A cowardly boy is forced by his parents to transfer to the most notorious school for delinquents. He thinks he's definitely going to get bullied, but then something unexpected happens. All the delinquent students here are actually friendly and kind. They even compete eagerly to show him around the entire school, and the campus seems completely free of violence. The boy can't help but look forward to a happy school life, but unexpectedly, after classes end, his classmates forcibly drag him to a fighting arena. All the students in the school spend their days fighting and venting their stress in this arena. Not understanding what's going on, the boy freezes in his tracks. The student council president sees the new student joining in and immediately explains with a big smile that violence in this school can only exist in this specially established fighting arena. Bullying between students is strictly forbidden on campus, so here you can fully enjoy both school life and the thrill of fighting. After saying this, ignoring the boy's shocked expression, she pushes him onto the fighting stage. His opponent is the muscular freshman leader Kang Tae-yang. Watching his opponent rush toward him with enthusiasm, the boy instantly breaks into a cold sweat, having been a coward for years. He's already traumatized by these delinquent students. Finally, overwhelmed by the psychological stress, the boy actually vomits all over Tae-yang's face. This move instantly shocks all the students present. Immediately, waves of mocking laughter fill the entire arena. The boy ends his unique welcome ceremony in total humiliation. The next day at school, everyone already knows about the incident with the boy from the night before, knowing deep down that he really can't fight anyone. He takes the initiative to find the student council president Yang Min-ho. He proposes not going to the arena anymore, but as soon as he finishes speaking, his classmates show horrified expressions and want to warn him about something. Min-ho announces with a dark expression that starting today, Lee Ji-ho is no longer under the protection of the arena. After saying this, he leaves him behind and walks away. After returning to the classroom alone, Ji-ho keeps reflecting on what Min-ho meant by not being protected by the arena rules. Suddenly, Tae-yang, whom he vomited on yesterday, appears with a group of followers. He then violently grabs Ji-ho's head and repeatedly slams it against the desk. He explains directly through his actions what Min-ho's words meant. This means that Ji-ho has become the only student in the entire school who can be beaten up. Now he has become everyone's servant at this school. After enduring a whole week of torment, unable to take it anymore, Ji-ho goes to find his homeroom teacher to request a leave of absence, thinking this will end everything. But unexpectedly, Min-ho is waiting at the school gate and mocks him. "You really are useless trash acting like this. Do you think by taking a break and leaving you can escape those bullies? A coward like you will always be someone else's punching bag because you don't have the resolve to protect yourself at all." After this criticism, Ji-ho, who firmly believed that everything was over, runs into Tae-yang waiting for him on his way home. "How dare you quit without asking your master for permission, who is going to run errands for me and be my punching bag after this?" After saying this, he immediately drags Ji-ho to a deserted alley for a brutal beating. Then he even takes out his phone and recites Ji-ho's home address word for word, smiling maliciously. He says he will visit him often to play. Upon hearing this, Ji-ho's eyes fill with terror. Angrily, he demands to know what Tae-yang really wants, but Tae-yang grabs his face and warns him. "If you dare to resist again, I'll take photos of you being beaten and spread them around." Ji-ho really can't understand why just when he was about to escape. This painful hell, these bastards refuse to let him go. Finally, in extreme fear and unwillingness, he completely understands what Min-ho said before. To protect himself, he must dare to fight back. With a roar, all his rage erupts from Ji-ho's heart. He suddenly bites Tae-yang's palm hard. Instantly, Tae-yang howls in furious pain. He punches Ji-ho and sends him flying. Ji-ho wipes the blood from his mouth and sneers, "So you know what it feels like to be in pain. A bastard like you, even if I die, I'm taking you to hell with me." Facing the bullies lunging at him, he knows he is outnumbered. Determined, he throws the sand he had hidden in his palm, seizing the opportunity. He turns around and runs toward the arena. The moment he enters, Ji-ho immediately declares with all his fury that he wants a fair one-on-one fight with Tae-yang, who is chasing him. Upon hearing this, Min-ho smiles slightly and immediately orders them to clear the space. When the two step onto the stage, the crowd goes wild, but unexpectedly, Taeyang's strength is terrifying. From the start, Jiho receives a brutal beating, but even covered in wounds, he keeps staring at Taeyang without backing down. Seeing that Jiho dares to glare at him, Taeyang angrily lifts his leg to deliver a kick, sending Jiho rolling violently across the floor. Then, he smiles because no one can withstand this kick of his. But just as he prepares to leave with confidence, Jiho actually gets up off the floor, refusing to stay down. Seeing this, Taeyang impatiently clenches his fist and warns, "Stop being stubborn! Keep this up and I'll actually kill you!" Upon hearing this, Jiho's eyes ignite with fury. This level of pain is nothing compared to what I've suffered before. After saying this, he suddenly lunges forward and tightly grabs Taeyang. Using all his strength to slam him hard into the ground, he immediately raises his fist, ready to strike that ugly face. But unexpectedly, Taeyang hits him first with a heavy blow. Then he says mockingly, "Your fist is so slow. When are you going to hit me?" Upon hearing this, Jiho becomes enraged. Even though he lacks strength, he has the courage to risk it all. Without hesitation, he lowers his head and slams it hard into Taeyang's head. Suffering the surprise attack, Taeyang becomes completely enraged. After forcefully shoving Jiho away, he grinds his teeth, ready to end this farce as quickly as possible. But at this moment, Jiho's eyes suddenly become bloodshot. He never imagined that the bullies that he has always feared are actually only at this level. It is pathetic that he has been bullied by such trash all this time. In pain and anger, he immediately raises his fist, wanting to teach them a lesson, but unexpectedly, Taeyang instantly hits his jaw with a heavy punch. He immediately falls to the floor unconscious. When he wakes up dazed, he discovers that Minho has been taking care of him in the arena, but he is immediately told that this is his last chance. After taking a break, he is forbidden from entering the arena again. For a moment, Jiho is left deep in thought. Because of his weakness and incompetence, he has always been bullied. Even after transferring, here he is still being toyed with by Taeyang, so without hesitation, he yells at Minho, "I have decided not to take a break. Please teach me how to get stronger." Upon hearing this, Minho smiles. Training the weak is of course also the duty of the student council president. After saying this, he suddenly throws a punch. Pummeling his stomach, Minho mocks Jiho as he writhes in pain. "Can't take it anymore. This is just the beginning." The next day, Jiho heads to school. Holding his sore stomach and remembering Minho's order to find him during every break, Jiho can't help but feel a wave of fear. Just at that moment, he runs into Taeyang, the guy he hates most. What's worse, that damn bastard threatens him again. "Don't get too cocky, or next time I'll actually kill you." Hearing this, a burning rage ignites in Jiho's chest. He swears he will become strong enough to crush this trash with his own two hands. When the class bell rings, Jiho reaches the rooftop ready to train. Unexpectedly, Minho beats him until he spits blood. Then for a long time, Jiho is brutally beaten hundreds of times every single day. Even when he's pummeled into unconsciousness, he never thinks of giving up. Because of the latest surprise attack, Taeyang often goes to the arena to ambush Jiho, but annoyingly, he never sees him there. In his mind, this is no different than refusing to fight. An evil idea forms immediately. Since Jiho won't be his punching bag, he'll use the arena rule that no one can decline a challenge to turn all those spectators who only dare to watch into his toys. He'll turn the arena into his private playground from now on, completely unaware of this Jiho to return. To the arena soon for a fair fight with Taeyang, does extra physical conditioning after his daily training. But just then, a motorcycle suddenly speeds toward him, grazing Jiho's arm. Then several bikers block his path. The leader, a guy dressed in black, approaches with a hand in his pocket and says, "You damaged my precious bike. I'll give you a discount. Just compensate me 6 million. Upon hearing this, Jiho's eyes widen in disbelief. Before he can say anything to refuse, the guy in black suddenly throws a punch, hitting him hard in the face. Hearing him continue to threaten him, Jiho suddenly realizes he isn't afraid at all. He pushes the guy's arm away and without hesitation throws his fist. He hits the man hard in the face. Now he isn't even afraid of a monster like Minho, let alone these scumbags in front of him. At the next second, his wrist is grabbed tightly. The guy in black sneers, "Are you trying to tickle me?" Jiho is instantly shocked. Without knowing what to do, he starts throwing punches frantically. During this time, he's only learned to endure hits. He doesn't know any attack techniques at all. In an instant, he is subdued by the guy's kick. Seeing him deliberately put on brass knuckles to deal more damage, raising his fist to strike, Jiho falls instantly into despair. Unexpectedly, a figure drops from the air, raising his knee and slamming it into the guy in black, making his nose bleed everywhere. Seeing who it is, Jiho is shocked. It's actually Hajun, the one who first took him to the arena. Hajun greets him cheerfully. "Knew it was you, Jiho." As he speaks, he watches a guy in red charging toward them. He quickly dodges the surprise attack and suddenly lands a powerful punch on that person's face. At that moment, one of the guys in black notices Hajun is wearing a human high school uniform. The guy immediately retreats with his subordinates, cursing, "What bad luck running into someone from human high today." After saying this, they roar off on their motorcycles, leaving exhaust smoke behind. As they speed away, Hajun comforts Jiho, telling him not to be discouraged by what just happened. Daring to fight a group is already impressive. Then, learning that Jiho is receiving special training from Minho, he says with envy, "President Minho doesn't train just anyone. You really need to value this opportunity." Jiho remembers how that group suddenly fled in panic and can't help but ask Hajun what that was about. Unexpectedly, Hajun smiles and says, "It's normal." Human High was known in this area as a delinquent school where campus violence was rampant until President Minho showed up and single-handedly reformed the whole school, creating the arena and establishing the current rules which transformed the previous indiscriminate violence into one-on-one duels in the arena to settle grudges. If the arena or President Minho disappears, the school could one day turn back into hell. After all, quite a few people are waiting for that to happen. But the two don't know that right now in the arena, Taeyang has already begun his destructive plan. His subordinate Park Seojin takes the lead using absurd excuses. He specifically targets the cowards who don't dare to fight. If they don't accept, he cites the arena rule that no one can refuse a challenge, forcing them to become his punching bags. After Seojin finishes venting freely, Taeyang takes off his shirt ready to go himself. At that moment, a guy with a side-part hairstyle in the middle of the crowd below the stage laughs and says, "Who dares to fight Taeyang?" But as soon as he finishes speaking, Taeyang picks him out with a glare. The guy is terrified. He and Taeyang have never even spoken. Why is he inviting him? Taeyang sneers. "Just looking at you puts me in a bad mood. Are you also going to refuse to fight like Jiho?" But at this moment, Minho suddenly appears aggressively. Faced with Minho's questioning, Taeyang hypocritically explains it's just a misunderstanding. "Is there a problem?" "I don't think I've broken any rules." Minho's face darkens. He knows what Taeyang is planning, but still pats him on the shoulder, reminding him not to act impulsively. And so, the disturbance in the arena settles temporarily. After this, Jiho's training continues as usual, but little by little he stops avoiding Minho's fists. He even takes opportunities to actively counterattack. If he wants to win, he can't just keep taking hits, even if he can't land a blow. It's better than getting massacred. Just then, Minho suddenly stops with a mischievous smile. He tells Jiho to follow him somewhere. The two reach an abandoned shed. When Jiho pushes the door open, there is clearly a humanoid boxing machine inside. Minho immediately takes a combat stance. "This is your second stage of training. Watch carefully, I'll only show you once. Stand shoulder-width apart, move with quick steps. First, your leading hand extends with precision. Second, use your body weight and rotate your waist." After saying this, he hits the dummy with a powerful punch. Seeing the machine begin to smoke, Jiho is incredibly surprised. Immediately filled with confidence following the steps instructed by Minho, he hits the dummy's chin. But unexpectedly, the score on the punching machine doesn't move at all. Seeing this, Minho throws another hard punch. Only then does the score change from 1 to 2. Then Minho points to the machine and says, "This thing is old and broken. It only responds if you hit hard enough. So don't appear before me until you reach 9,999 points." From then on, Jiho spends every break punching things, which makes his appetite increase dramatically. But just as he's wolfing down some rice, Seojin suddenly appears from behind and deliberately smacks him on the head with a food tray, even pretending to greet him while aggressively slapping him on the back. Jiho grits his teeth in rage, stands up and grabs Seojin's arm hard. Watching him continue to belittle him, Jiho suppresses his fury. Minho said he was forbidden from entering. in the arena before his training is finished, but now these people have become so arrogant that they are openly disrespecting the rules and starting trouble outside the arena. Jiho can't take it anymore and clenches his fist, deciding to disobey orders, but unexpectedly Ha-jun suddenly lunges forward and throws a tray. It slams hard into Seo-jin's face. "You coward, there's a limit to how much nonsense you can pull." Seeing that Seo-jin is about to cause a scene, Ha-jun quickly explains with a smile. "Sorry, it's not harassment, my hand just slipped." Then with a grim expression, he throws a challenge to fight Seo-jin tonight. Jiho feels very guilty for getting Ha-jun into trouble. Taehyun explains with a smile that he isn't fighting Seo-jin on Jiho's behalf. He just can't stand it when those guys cause trouble in the arena. Recently, Taehyun and his group have been deliberately bullying weak people with one-sided violence. If the other party is scared, they threaten them, using Jiho's previous refusal to participate in the arena. Upon discovering the truth, Jiho grits his teeth in rage, but he's also confused as to why Ha-jun cares so much about the arena. After all, someone as strong as him doesn't need it. Hearing this, Ha-jun speaks of a past he rarely mentions. When he was young, he was overweight and had a weak personality. He suffered severe bullying for a long time until a stranger rescued him from some thugs and handed him a boxing flyer. His life finally changed. That person, a gym owner, trained with him day after day. Just like that, he transformed through his fists and was never bullied again. The Colosseum is a place where everyone can fight fairly without harassment or oppression, which is why he wants to protect it so much. That night, Ha-jun and Seo-jin step onto the stage as agreed. When the referee gives the order, Seo-jin confidently throws the first punch. After dodging several consecutive attacks, he is surprised by a strong blow from Ha-jun. Seo-jin is somewhat stunned. Ha-jun's movements are faster than he imagined. He has boxing experience, but after taking a few more hits, he realizes that even though the movements are fast, the punches lack power. Instinctively, his confidence returns to its peak. He lowers his stance, preparing to deliver a fatal blow to Ha-jun's abdomen. Unexpectedly, Ha-jun's fist arrives before his eyes, slamming directly into his jaw and making him spit blood. It turns out the earlier move was just a trap Ha-jun had deliberately prepared, hiding his true strength to take advantage of Seo-jin's overconfidence with a heavy blow. In the stands, Jiho is extremely excited. Ha-jun is truly incredible. But the two people behind him say that Seo-jin has never lost, so Ha-jun probably won't win that easily. Hearing this, Jiho feels uneasy. At this moment on the stage, Seo-jin is launching fierce attacks on Ha-jun, but no matter what move he uses, he can't land a hit. He is even finally sent flying by a strong punch. Seeing Ha-jun's proud expression, Seo-jin suddenly smiles. Staggering, he gets back up, then suddenly raises his left leg, switching to a full combat stance. Ha-jun immediately recognizes it as a kicking technique. Just as he counters with the same method, his leg suddenly feels intense pain. Seeing this, Ha-jun quickly pulls back, but at this moment, Seo-jin gets very excited and kicks again with his most powerful technique. In an instant, Ha-jun feels as if he had been hit by a gigantic steel pipe, falling straight to the floor with force. This kid's strength defies all logic. Then, while Seo-jin takes advantage of his lead, Ha-jun's defensive arm is kicked until it fractures. This makes it hard for his punches to have any power. He instantly becomes Seo-jin's human punching bag. This leaves Ha-jun completely unsure of how to counterattack. He can only watch helplessly while Seo-jin's steel leg strikes him, making him lose his ability to move. But at this moment, Seo-jin has murder in his eyes. "Goodbye, you annoying brat." Seeing that Ha-jun is about to be kicked in the temple, the referee jumps in immediately to block the attack. The discipline captain Seo-jin announces with a grim face that since the opponent cannot continue fighting, any further action is considered a foul. Seeing this, Seo-jin can only leave the stage reluctantly. Before leaving, he doesn't forget to mock Jiho. "Long time no see, coward. Next time it will be your turn to be beaten by me." Regarding this duel, Ha-jun feels very guilty. His failure has undoubtedly made those guys even more arrogant. Jiho consoles him, telling him not to blame himself. No one expected Seo-jin to have such a signature kick. After accompanying Ha-jun to his apartment building, Jiho quickly makes an excuse to leave. He runs all the way to the boxing training facility. He must become stronger as fast as possible. He cannot stand idly by while his friends are bullied and he can't do anything about it. So even if he fails hundreds of thousands of times, he must succeed. Gradually, Jiho realizes that his body weight and strength are limited. Perhaps his stance should be wider. If he wants his punches to be more powerful, he needs to find the feeling of swinging with all his strength. Indeed, when he hits the dummy this time, the score changes for the first time. Following this technique, Jiho hits it from night until dawn until his fists become bloody and battered. The score on the punching machine finally reaches 9,999. At this moment, Seo Jin notices that Jiho didn't come to school today and suggests going to see him, but unexpectedly Tai Hyun tells him not to bother. Now that Seo Jin just defeated Ha-jun, it shows that his strength has made those cowards very afraid. If they go after Jiho now, they'll look petty. Currently, they have taken control of the first year as planned. It's time for the next step. Dear seniors, hello everyone. In his third year, Seo Yu faces the Archons. What are you losers plotting? Hearing this, Taehyun smiles broadly. We're just nobodies, of course. After all, you were legendary members during my brother's time, but now you have been overthrown by Minho and can only hide in alleys. Like old men, being publicly mocked by a junior COU grabs his collar in anger. Seeing this, Taehyun explains calmly, I say it because I think it's a shame. You weren't there. You seniors were too focused on fighting alone back then, but things are different now. The situation has changed. Now Taehyun has started gathering strength in secret to completely destroy the arena. Although he intervenes to fix the arena, there is no guarantee it can return to how it was before. Suddenly, at this moment, his phone rings. It is clearly a call from Jiho. Minho immediately goes to the boxing training facility. He thought Jiho couldn't handle it and wanted to give up. But seeing the number on the punching machine, he feels a thrill he'd been waiting for a long time, even faster than he'd imagined. Jiho wipes the sweat running down his face. He says he has no more time to waste here. Minho smiles. Then let's move on to the next training, but get ready, what's coming next will be even more terrifying than before. As soon as he stops talking, Jiho collapses against his chest and immediately falls into a deep sleep. After a day of rest, Jiho follows the instructions. He heads to a construction site. Just as he's carefully inspecting the chilling surroundings, Minho suddenly appears from behind. Then, with a serious face, he says, Back then, to secure the top spot, Human High offended many schools. One of them is Jin Sun High, which occupies this territory. Upon hearing this, Jiho is shocked. He didn't expect Minho to take him into enemy territory, but at that moment, Minho seizes the chance to slam an iron door shut and locks it. Then, with a mischievous smile, he says, The door on the other side is open. Try escaping on your own. After all, there's no better experience than real combat. Seeing Minho just leave him behind like that, Jiho frantically pounds on the door, but just then the roar of motorcycles suddenly sounds behind him. In the blink of an eye, he's surrounded by a group. Among them, the guy in black slowly approaches. Jiho immediately recognizes him as the bastard Ha-jun beat up last time. At this moment, the guy in black menacingly puts on his brass knuckles. You trash, you really dared to hand yourself over. You aren't escaping this time. After saying this, he reaches out and grabs Jiho's head, firmly provocatively tapping his cheeks with his fist. But unexpectedly, Jiho suddenly adopts a fighting stance. After punching the guy in black before he can react, Jiho throws another hard, heavy blow, making his nose bleed everywhere. But just as Jiho starts feeling confident in his fists, he's caught off guard and hit hard in the head by the guy who has regained his senses. But now, this guy's punches feel like tickles to Jiho. He immediately throws a punch that sends him flying. The reckless subordinates see their boss being intimidated and rush forward, but they run into Jiho's fist, which sends them flying severely injured on the ground. The guy in black can't understand how in just a few days, the waste they used to beat up freely now has the strength to completely overwhelm him. Looking at Jiho, who is barely catching his breath, a delinquent among them steps forward and starts cursing him out loud. The loud voice immediately attracts a large swarm of people. Seeing dozens of fierce thugs surrounding him immediately, Jiho can't help but find this a bit complicated. In an instant, he thinks of a brilliant idea. He quickly seizes the guy in black's beloved motorcycle. He revs the throttle to the max while this group is still staring, stupidly sends the motorcycle forward at full speed, and then instantly lets go. Letting it crash into the crowd, the thugs are immediately scared and confused by the speeding bike. Seeing this, Jiho immediately takes advantage of this opportunity. He lunges forward, quickly knocking down the thugs blocking his path. He runs frantically toward the back door. He knows deep down that if he wants to be on the fighting stage for a one-on-one duel against Ian and those bastards, he can't run away like this. So passing by a building, he immediately realizes that the staircase could offer him one-on-one opportunities. And when the thugs follow him up the stairs, they clearly see Jiho standing in the narrow corner, ready and waiting for them. Seeing Jiho apparently falling into a trap, the group moves forward immediately. The first person to charge is knocked down with a single punch on the narrow stairs. Jiho takes the higher position with an absolute advantage. The thugs climbing up not only become perfect punching bags, but also obstacles for the other thugs, who start to fear him. Jiho, on a roll, is ready to go down and finish them off, but at that moment, a bull suddenly appears from behind, instantly striking Jiho's head. Then, a guy with purple hair jumps from the top floor, kicking Jiho down the stairs. Seeing this, Jiho never expected someone to be hidden above. He immediately raises his fist and lunges forward to counterattack, but that person like lightning kicks him in the head first, the pain striking directly into his brain. Makes Jiho realize this guy isn't an ordinary thug. The purple-haired guy takes the opportunity to order his subordinates take him down in under 10 minutes. Hearing this, the thugs surround him immediately, frantically kicking and stomping on Jiho on the ground. But for him, with his incredible pain tolerance, this is nothing. He knows deep down that fighting a group like this gives him no chance of winning. He immediately breaks free with all his might and runs down the stairs, seeing the purple-haired guy about to leave. Jiho runs down, grabs his head, and delivers a devastating blow. Then he takes the opportunity to roll downward, completely opening up the distance between them. The thrill and excitement of the battle get him hyped up. He immediately runs out of the building. Just as he's about to reach the back door and escape, a motorcycle suddenly attacks from behind, immediately blocking Jiho's path, and even more unexpectedly, behind the motorcycle, the guy in black whom Jiho took down before is being dragged in front of Jiho, who is stunned. Hyuk-jin, the captain, licks his lips. Even though you took down these useless subordinates of mine, you're still quite cute. I love playing with charming ones like you. As he finishes speaking, the thugs Jiho escaped from earlier also catch up to him. Blocking his retreat, the purple-haired guy among them sees Hyuk-jin and greets him nervously. Then patting his chest, he says he'll take care of Jiho, who invaded his territory. But unexpectedly, Hyuk-jin's eyes glint with a threat, and he warns, "He is my prey, you useless trash. I'll show you some love later." Upon hearing this, the purple-haired guy is so scared he can't speak. Meanwhile, Jiho observes this strange guy in front of him constantly watching. He's shorter than him and doesn't have Minho's build. Maybe there's a chance to win. After making this assessment, he immediately lunges forward, but unexpectedly. His confident punch is instantly dodged by Hyuk-jin. He's then caught in a gap, lifted with bare hands, thrown and slammed into the ground. A blow that hard makes Jiho spit up blood immediately. But before he can recover, he's lifted by Hyuk-jin with one hand while he holds his body firmly with both hands. Hyuk-jin jumps into the air and spins 180 degrees backward, delivering a crushing blow to his skull. The intense pain in his head makes Jiho instantly feel like he's going to heaven. The subordinates on the side see this and start to smile, but they immediately break into a cold sweat because soon they'll all be toyed with in the same way by Hyuk-jin. And just as Hyuk-jin grabs his neck and lifts Jiho high, Jiho suddenly kicks him in the face and provocatively says, "Shorty, why do you keep calling others cute? You're cute." Hearing this, Hyuk-jin's face shows disbelief that anyone would dare call him cute. The bullies standing by are stunned. They start breaking into a cold sweat, whispering that Yejo might be killed because there was a rumor that Hyuk-jin was bullied as a child for being short, so if you don't want to die, never call him cute. Just then, Yejo notices Hyuk-jin suddenly let him go and drop him. Seeing this, he immediately clenches his fists, ready to counterattack, but unexpectedly, the guy lunges at him again, slamming him to the ground. He uses both legs to lock firmly around his neck. Yejo is instantly strangled, unable to breathe. Like a python coiling tightly around him, he then grabs his head and beats him mercilessly. Looking down at the barely conscious Yejo Do-hyun, arrogantly sticks his tongue out. Still think I'm cute? But at this moment, Yejo actually lifts him up while being strangled. His unbreakable will drives his body beyond its limits. The muscular Do-hyun, excited, changes his position, moving behind Yejo to execute a rear-naked choke the moment his body straightens up. Yejo experiences suffocation 100 times more intense than before. In just a few seconds, Yejo loses consciousness and collapses to the floor. Do-hyun looks excitedly at his restrained prey and stands up. He drags him away, planning to take him somewhere for more fun. But at that moment, Yejo miraculously opens his eyes. It turns out that during the time he was bullied, the suffocation game was the most frequent thing they did to him, so he gradually discovered that as long as he keeps a finger-sized gap to protect his carotid artery, he won't suffocate or lose consciousness. After being dragged, Yejo seizes the opportunity to grab a rock. Suddenly, he raises his arm and strikes with all the fury in his heart. Then, taking advantage of the moment Do-hyun falls, Yejo runs frantically toward the back door. But just as he is about to successfully escape, Do-hyun, who just took a hit to the head, lunges at him again. Just when he is about to be caught again, Minho suddenly appears in the doorway, exuding a terrifying pressure. He warns Do-hyun, "If you attack him again, it will be considered a provocation against all students of Yumi High." But the enraged Do-hyun says provocatively, "I've wanted to fight you for a long time." With that, he sticks his tongue out confidently and advances ready to fight. Unexpectedly, before he can even throw a punch, Minho hits him directly in the face, knocking him instantly backward through the door, unconscious on the floor. Looking at Yejo, who has already crossed the iron gate, Minho seems satisfied. "Just a final training session. Meet me on the rooftop tomorrow." Unexpectedly, the next morning, as soon as Giho arrives at school, he sees Seo-yun assaulting Hajun. He immediately lunges forward to block the attack. Unable to take it anymore, he declares war on Seo-yun. "You bastard, come to the arena after school. I'm going to fight you." Hearing this, Seo-yun never expected this kid would dare to challenge him. He immediately threatens to show Giho what the real world is like. As time quickly advances toward the night, the arena is more packed than ever. Seo-yun, already on the platform, sees that Giho hasn't appeared yet. He can't help but sneer, "Did this kid run away?" But the next second, Giho appears before him with a shaved head. Showing his determination, the cowardly boy faces the Muay Thai expert on the platform for the first time and actually sticks his butt out, allowing his opponent to kick him wildly. This ridiculous move makes the audience burst into laughter. But what they don't know is that the reason for his strange behavior is that the moment he was kicked before, he felt that his opponent seems to have steel plates hidden in his legs. If he gets kicked, there's a risk a bone could break at any moment. However, just as he looks at his opponent's legs, trying to confirm, the guy suddenly changes strategy, surprising him with a strike. The stunning blow to his head leaves him dazed and unable to defend himself. Seeing this, the guy takes the opportunity to raise his leg and attack. Just as he arrogantly thinks his kick will finish the boy off, he discovers that his leg has been firmly caught. In an instant, the boy throws the guy to the ground with force. Looking at his bulging calf to verify his suspicion, Giho suddenly rips his pant leg, instantly revealing the steel plate tied to his shin. Witnessing this scene, the audience is immediately shocked. They never expected this guy to be hiding a weapon. They curse him furiously as a despicable bastard. Seeing this, the referee asks Minho, the founder of the arena, if they need to take a break. Unexpectedly, Minho smiles and tells him to step back and not interfere, as it's almost over anyway. Meanwhile, having confirmed his suspicions, Giho becomes instantly enraged. He frantically strikes the guy on the ground, beating him directly until he is half dead. Looking at his cowardly appearance, Giho understands this expression better than anyone, because when he was brutally beaten by this guy and his gang, he also felt the same fear and helplessness. But the cowardly Giho of the past has disappeared. From now on, everyone who bullied him will be crushed by his fists, as Seo-yun briefly loses consciousness. Giho achieves an overwhelming victory amidst the cheers of the crowd, and Seo-yun, as he regained his senses amidst the cheers, never expected to be knocked out by someone unknown. Just as he tries to get up and continue, he sees his boss, Tai Yang, walking directly through the crowd. He is about to call his boss, but he is shocked by his cold gaze. At the same time, seeing him wake up, the audience begins to throw trash and stones at him. Unexpectedly, Jiho stands in front of him, reaching out his hand with no hard feelings, wanting to help him up. He says that although he wanted to beat the cheating Seo-yoon to death, the arena rules prevented him, so next time they will have a fair fight. However, just as the two are about to make peace, a large hand firmly grabs Seo-yoon's hair. The third-year boss who arrived suddenly. Minwoo mocks, "How can you piece of trash shake hands and make peace with your opponent?" With that, he walks provocatively toward Minho, who created the arena all by himself. He declares that he will personally destroy the arena and return Human High to the era of bullies. Faced with this, Minho can't help but sneer. He thought Minwoo had given up long ago, and only dared to hide like a rat in the sewers. Well, then he will have to completely crush Minwoo's unrealistic fantasies. When the two step onto the platform as opponents, the audience below breaks into a heated argument. Seeing this and not understanding, Jiho curiously asks his friend Jae-jun. He learns that Minwoo was someone who could compete with Minho for the position of strongest at Human High before the arena was established. As Minwoo finishes warming up, he suddenly advances rapidly and launches the first attack. In an instant, the tremendous power of their clash blows away the closest spectators, and when the shock passes, Minwoo realizes that he hasn't touched a single hair on Minho's head. He becomes instantly enraged and launches a series of attacks. Seeing this, Jiho is astonished. Despite his massive build, Minwoo can still move with incredible speed. Worried, he asks Ha-jun what the consequences would be if Minho loses the match. Upon hearing this, Ha-jun's face darkens. The arena will likely disappear and Human High will return to hell because Minwoo is the right-hand man of the demon Kanghan-ai. As the words sink in, the increasingly frustrated Minwoo begins to lose his cool, so he extends a palm with all his might. He finally scratches Minho's cheek for the first time, feeling that victory is within reach. He immediately launches a series of fierce attacks after landing each blow on Minho. He takes direct advantage of his lead and throws a powerful punch, instantly knocking Minho to the ground. This sudden turn of events makes Jiho's heart race. Even the normally calm Ha-jun starts to panic. It's rumored that Minwoo has the edge in strength while Minho is more skilled, but now it seems that Minwoo is crushing Minho in every aspect. At this moment, Minwoo smiles maliciously to himself. He never expected that those little pills he was given could completely transform him. Gloating like a winner, he raises his huge leg high, trying to use this final blow to crush Minho, but a fist suddenly strikes him in the face. In an instant, he is sent flying by Minho. As he gets trapped against the railing, Minho attacks suddenly, and as his devastating blow lands, a terrifying pressure emanates instantly from his entire body. When Minwoo realizes it was all a trap to make him lower his guard, it is already too late as Minho lands the final blow. Minwoo flies instantly off the platform, cutting a line through the crowd. He already lies motionless on the ground, fallen into unconsciousness. But just as everyone sees this and raises their arms in celebration, Minho turns around with a serious face and calls out to Seo-jun, who is planning to escape in the chaos. With an authoritative face, he says, "Since you cheated, you must accept the punishment. Hurry up and lie down obediently to receive your beating." As the words fall, Minho pulls out an iron bar. Upon seeing this, Seo-jun is terrified. If he is punished with an iron bar by Minho, who is like a monster, he will surely die, so he immediately abandons his dignity. He kneels on the ground, begging desperately. He swears he didn't cheat on purpose and that he will never do something like that again, but Minho's decision is made, and he orders him again to lie down quickly. Seeing this, Seo-jun cries and grabs Minho's thigh pitifully, explaining that he was bullied since childhood, and that he strapped steel plates to his legs to survive, so considering that he is also a victim, please forgive this mistake. Seeing Minho suddenly kneel on one knee, he thinks he will be forgiven, but this action only makes Minho angrier. "You little brat, I told you to lie down now." Upon hearing this, the terrified Seo-jun has no remedy but to lie on the floor, sobbing. I've never seen such a terrifying person. Hearing the whistling sound of Minho swinging the steel bar, he is so scared that he wets himself, leaving a puddle of yellow liquid. Seeing that the boy has wet himself, Minho stops swinging the steel bar. He is no longer interested in continuing the punishment. Instead, he warns, "There won't be a second time for such mercy." Then he stomps on the ground and roars, Everyone listen today. You must understand what kind of place this arena is. Anyone who wants to break the rules or bring violence to this school while I'm here will never get away with it easily, so everyone can enjoy themselves without worrying. Because this is a place where that coward who was once afraid to fight can win cleanly with just his 2 fists. Precisely because of that, the Human High Arena exists. This concludes my speech as the Student Council President of Human High. The next day, Minho is training on the school rooftop. Jiho takes the opportunity to come to the rooftop and express his gratitude. If Minho hadn't taught him during special training before his match with Seo-jun, that the key for beginner fighters is to abandon defense, get close to the opponent, take hits, and force them to stop moving, then wait for the opportunity. To land the most lethal blow, he would never have been able to beat Seo-jun. However, upon hearing this, Minho says, "There's no need to thank me. I was just doing what I had to." Looking at the suddenly cold Minho, the boy doesn't know how to respond for a moment. He asks something out of curiosity. "Why would you do so much for me? I heard I'm the first student to receive your special training." Upon hearing this, Minho stops training and replies, "I want to prove something to someone. Thanks to you, progressing faster than I expected. I think I'll have a lot to say to him, and also thanks for persisting." Upon hearing these words, even though Jiho doesn't fully understand, he still bows to thank him for the transformation that he has brought about. Although he wants to ask what his words really mean in this unusual atmosphere, he doesn't dare ask any further. As time flies, the worn-out roof of the arena can barely contain the noise and excitement inside. After Minho's speech, the arena has become more popular than ever. Every day intense battles take place here, and Jiho has changed through countless intense fights. Now his fists are not only full of power, but his body has also started to keep up with the combat. He has completely mastered the method of ending a fight as soon as an opportunity arises. At the same time, he has become completely fascinated with the arena. But what he doesn't know is that Tai Yang, who has wanted to destroy the arena, arrives at a prison visiting room. He meets with his older brother, who was once the boss of Human High. Upon seeing his younger brother arrive, Kang Hanai immediately smiles darkly. "Last time you told me you thought of a way to destroy the arena. How is that going?" Upon hearing this, Tae Yang can only respond. Because of some coward kid, everything was ruined, and Min Woo unexpectedly wasn't a match for Minho either. As soon as he finishes speaking, a loud laugh erupts in the visiting room. It seems that Minho has become quite strong. But even if the master isn't there, how can a dog think he can become the master? Seeing this, Tae Yang immediately begins to sweat coldly and replies, "Don't worry, no matter what happens, I will do my best to destroy the arena. I have thought of another plan." But before he can finish, Han-ai speaks, "Tai Yang! Only the person who leashed the dog can control it. Don't be arrogant, just do your part." With that, he stands up to leave. "Dad says he will pull some strings to reduce my murder charge. I should be able to get out in a few months, so during this time you just need to keep quiet. Anyway, once I get out, things will be resolved." Upon hearing this, Tae Yang can only comply. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Jiho, completely oblivious to this, attends the same mixer meeting as Minho's sister, and his behavior of overdrinking on his first date catches the attention of Minho's sister. After talking, both develop mutual feelings. With everyone in high spirits, the group decides to go to a karaoke bar to relax. However, just as the 3 boys are about to enter together, the boy with the thick eyebrows, he grabs Hyun by the shoulder and tells the girls to go on ahead while he and the others head to the bathroom. Hyun is just about to refuse when the next second, the guy with the thick eyebrows growls, "Why did you keep sabotaging me during the date?" The 2 of them immediately start bickering right there on the street. Watching the 2 of them argue, and feeling embarrassed, Jiho takes off first, heading to the karaoke place alone. On the way, he can't stop thinking about how cute Minho's sister looked. He instantly turns into a lovesick fool. However, he has no idea that this girl is actually Minho's sister, but just as he turns the corner toward the karaoke spot, he looks up and spots a bully harassing the girl he likes. "Hey girl, why don't you come with us?" Hearing that, the guy immediately yells, "You bastard, cut it out." The bully turns, sees what Jiho looks like, and laughs disdainfully. Your friend is obviously a coward, so stop hanging out with this weakling. Come with me instead. I'm with the Vaxan gang. Feeling the pain in her arm, Mi immediately struggles and tells the bully to let her go. Seeing this, the bully gets even more excited. Oh, and what are you going to do if I don't let you go? No sooner are the words out than she takes a sliding step, grabs the bully by the collar with a reverse grip, and executes a perfect shoulder throw. As he hits the ground, she says with authority, "If you don't behave, you're going to get hit." With a crunching sound as he slams into the floor, the bully is thrown with such force that he spits blood. Meanwhile, Jiho is completely stunned and frozen in place by this over-the-top scene. The red-haired girl tells him there was no need for him to step in. Behind Mi's gentle appearance, there really hides a ferocious beast. Since childhood, she's been learning how to fight from her brother to master self-defense. Regular bullies can easily be beaten by her. Now, most men can't even take her on, and the one who taught her is the most notorious head of the school bullies, so don't worry. Hearing this, the boy is instantly shocked. Looking at Mi, who has already finished the fight, he can't help but wonder if the older guy who taught her how to fight might be Mi's brother. But unexpectedly, the next second, two more bullies suddenly appear behind Mi, and one of them sinisterly tries to ambush her. Upon seeing this, the boy immediately lunges forward and lands a heavy blow to his face, sending him flying. Then grabbing the bully by the collar, he says angrily, "A surprise attack is one thing, but attacking a girl, you really are a scoundrel." With that, he hurriedly and worriedly asks Mi if she's hurt. At this moment, the guy with the thick eyebrows and Hyun finally return from the bathroom. Seeing this, Mi's friend immediately points behind them and cries out pitifully, "We were almost harassed by a group of bullies." But when they all look in the direction she's pointing, they discover that the group has already fled. Afterward, Jiho walks Mi home. When he's praised for having fought well earlier, Jiho shyly explains that it's all thanks to Minho's help. As soon as he finishes speaking, Mi suddenly shouts in surprise, "So you're the person my brother was talking about?" Hearing this, Jiho is instantly stunned. He never expected Mi to actually be Minho's sister, and he wonders if she knows everything about his pathetic past. But at that moment, a phone is suddenly handed over. Mi says softly, "From the moment my brother mentioned you, I thought you were interesting. Let's keep in touch." Taking the phone, Jiho's face instantly turns red. He never expected her to ask for his contact information first. The next day at school, Jiho acts like a lovesick fool, clinging to his phone whenever he has a free moment. He chats enthusiastically with Mi, but suddenly a commotion grabs his attention. Seo Hyun, the one he defeated, is kneeling on the floor begging his boss Tai Yang for forgiveness. But Tai Yang spits at Seo Hyun, mockingly telling him to get lost. "If it were me, I would have just quit out of shame." Jiho, witnessing this scene, is quite confused and completely baffled. He can't help but ask his classmate, "Why would a bully with some skills like Seo Hyun keep kissing the feet of a jerk like Tai Yang?" Hearing this, Hyun explains, "In this area there's a famous company called Kang-un. But in reality, it's a criminal organization that just looks good on the surface. They're huge and even have ties to police or political figures. Tai Yang is the second son of the head of the Kang-un company, a villain born into the elite of the underworld." After hearing this, Jiho looks astonished. No wonder Tai Yang has been acting so wild at school. As night falls, Mi finishes her part-time job and prepares to head home, but suddenly a woman comes running over crying for help. She throws herself into Mi's arms, saying that a group of strange guys has been chasing her and trying to touch her. Hearing this, Mi offers to help call the police, but the woman strangely shoves her into an alleyway, explaining that they need to hide. Unexpectedly, the next second, some bullies suddenly appear, blocking the entrance to the alley. Seeing this, Mi immediately yells for them to get lost and stop harassing innocent women. However, she never expected that at that moment the woman behind her would stealthily pull out a stun gun and take the opportunity to drive it hard into Mi's lower back. Then with a triumphant look, she says, "I just used a little trick and you really fell for it." Upon realizing that the woman and the bullies are working together, Mi clenches her fists in rage, but after the shock, moving her body is extremely difficult, let alone resisting. Seeing this, the group of bullies grins lewdly. Among them is Jae-hoo, an officer of the Baeksan gang with a scorpion tattoo on his face, who smiles menacingly. "Hey, girl, want to come with us?" As the words fall, a familiar face appears and picks up the conversation. "I told you I'm with the Begzar gang." But you had to mess with me. Now watch how our boss treats you." Hearing this, Mi suddenly realizes so he's the guy who harassed her earlier causing trouble. But at this moment, Jae-hoo suddenly grabs a wooden stick, raising it maliciously, preparing to strike Mi's head. Seeing that the situation is bad, Mi immediately bursts with incredible willpower to lift her body. When he brings the blow down, she manages to dodge by twisting to the side with great difficulty. The woman nearby is surprised. "You're tougher than I thought, but we're not done with you yet." With that, she activates the stun gun again, electrocuting Mi until she passes out. Then she deliberately touches her a few times to confirm that she is completely unconscious. Afterward, she stands up and begs Jae-hoo to hand Mi over so she can teach her a good lesson. But Jae-hoo's eyes shine with a malicious glint. "Do you think I'm looking for toys for you? This woman has great value and don't you dare touch her." With that, he turns around and orders his henchmen to immediately put Mi in a sack and take her to the secret base. But just as they are about to act, a figure appears sprinting toward them at full speed. He throws a punch that sends a bully flying through the air. Under everyone's astonished gaze, Jiho turns his head with a fierce expression, staring down these bastards. The reason he is here is because half an hour ago, Mi told Jiho she wanted to go karaoke. Upon hearing that Jiho wanted to offer to go with her, I volunteered to go with her, but the second after she sent me a strange text message realizing something was wrong, he immediately rushed over in a panic, but he was still one step too late. Just then, the thug in red in the crowd suddenly yells, "Boss, this bastard is also the one who intimidated us at the karaoke place, and that guy is a damn student from Human High." Hearing this, Jae-ho smirks maliciously. He originally wanted to deal with those who messed with them. The last time, one by one. It seems the people from Human High are pretty impatient. As he finishes speaking, the fat henchman takes the lead, wanting to use this chance to show off in front of the boss, but Jiho easily dodges the attack with a quick move. He then follows up with a punch that makes the fat guy spit blood. Facing attacks from both sides, Jiho sends one person flying while using his forearm to block a kick from another. Then without holding back, he throws an uppercut, brutally shattering that person's jaw. Jiho didn't expect these guys to be even weaker than the ones from Human High, so even if a few more come, he can still win. But just as he kicked the guy in red, a wooden stick suddenly swings toward him. If he hadn't dodged in time, his face would have been shredded by the sharp spikes on the top. This makes Jiho realize that the guy in front of him is a dangerous person who will use any means necessary. So out of caution, he chooses not to attack recklessly. Instead, under the opponent's relentless and fierce attacks, he patiently waits for an opportunity to counterattack. When an opening appears in the guy's defense, he immediately leaps with a flying kick, instantly knocking away the wooden stick used for defense. He then frantically swings his fists, forcing the guy into an alley, but just when Jiho's attention is completely focused on his hand-to-hand attacks, Jae-ho suddenly extends a foot. In an instant, Jiho is taken down uncontrollably. He falls headfirst into a woman's arms. This awkward position lasts for 2.5 seconds. Only then does he react and explain that he absolutely didn't do it on purpose. Looking at his shy, little boy expression, the woman actually finds him very cute. Excited, she raises her stun baton, wanting to love him properly. However, just as the baton is about to hit Jiho, Mia suddenly appears and kicks the woman's weapon away. Seeing this, the woman asks in disbelief, "Weren't you unconscious? How can you get up?" Hearing this, Mia proudly holds up a wooden stick. "Of course, it's because of this good thing in my hand." It turns out that earlier when Jae-ho attacked her with the wooden stick, she saw a small piece that accidentally broke off, so just before the woman was about to shock her again, she secretly hid the wooden stick under her clothes using the insulation to block the powerful current. Then Jiho and Mia immediately decide to join forces and finish off those bastards. Seeing this, Jae-ho can't help but sneer. "You two are truly interesting. You know I've been in the gang business for a long time." As soon as the words fall, Jiho suddenly lunges forward and strikes his forehead, then another blow hammers his cheek. In just a few moves, he knocks him into a pile of trash. I haven't even officially started yet. With that, he pops a pill into his mouth, advances rapidly, and throws a heavy punch at Jiho. At that moment, facing the suddenly enhanced attacks, Jiho has no way to defend himself and takes a brutal knee to the jaw. Then he becomes a punching bag, beaten brutally until his face is unrecognizable. But just when Jiho thinks he has won, he discovers that Jiho suddenly stops in his tracks motionless before he can react to what is happening. Jiho suddenly grabs Jiho's collar, taking him by surprise, and frantically strikes his stomach, seeing his opponent held in his hand like a little chick. Without hesitation, Jiho immediately headbutts him. The enraged Jiho confronts Jiho, but never expected this high schooler's fighting style to be even more reckless than his own, a drugged-up maniac. Finally, as Jiho roars and tightens his fist, he is sent flying several meters under this terrifying blow. At this moment, Jiho looks at the unconscious Jiho and spits out bloody saliva with contempt. "Idiot, did you really think I was your practice punching bag?" As the words fall, Mia's applause suddenly sounds from behind. "Good job," she finishes. Then, even though Jiho is still embarrassed, he grabs the woman's collar tightly and with a fierce expression asks why she tricked him. At this moment, the woman is so scared that she frantically waves her hands, explaining that she only agreed to do this because she was paid by Baek Sang-gang. Hearing Baek Sang-gang, Jiho suddenly understands. So they already had a problem with these people at the karaoke place. To find out exactly what Baek Sang-gang is, Jiho immediately warns the woman that if she doesn't tell the truth, she won't leave here alive. The woman gets scared immediately. She confesses everything she knows. It turns out Baek Sang-gang is an alliance of high schools that suddenly emerged in this area half a year ago. Although there are several gangs in this area, anyone with any reputation is eager to join Baek Sang-gang. So it has grown extremely fast. At that time, Jiho bribed her to bring Mia in order to trap some human high students and have the chance to join the Five Dragons. Because Baek Sang-gang has already absorbed most of the schools in this area, leaving only the North District where human high is located. With that, the woman staggers to her feet, saying she has told everything she knows, so she will leave now. But after only a few steps, her jacket is suddenly grabbed. Mia asks with fierce eyes, "Where do you think you're going?" "I haven't said we're finished yet." What follows is a ruthless beating. After letting off some steam, the two walk home together. Regarding the events of tonight, Jiho is very apologetic. Baek Sang-gang's target is human high, but innocent Mia got dragged into this. Fortunately, no matter how arrogant those guys are, they can't beat human high. Hearing this, Mia laughs. "My brother is quite special, but you're pretty cool too. Thanks, now I owe you twice." To this, Jiho smiles warmly. He is very grateful to have been able to save Mia. Meanwhile, on the other side, Jiho and his group are receiving punishment one by one. And Jiho, as the instigator after being kicked heavily, is immediately demoted to the status of a fighter by John Taemin, who ranks 5th. Among the 5 dragons of Baek Sang-gang, seeing the desperate Jiho Taemin mocks him, being a fighter is also quite interesting. We'll see you in the arena. Meanwhile, in another place, the fighter gang Chumbang is entrenched. After chasing away a group of guys who wanted to join them, Kong Jin-seok as the boss worries even more. Due to the existence of Baek Sang-gang, now they can't recruit good subordinates. If this continues, how will they survive? But at that moment, an unexpected guest suddenly appears. Seeing that the visitor is actually Seo-jun, 2 subordinates yell at him immediately, "You piece of trash, how dare you show your face here?" To this, Seo-jun dismisses them with a smile. Claiming he's here for an interview compared to those guys who just ran away, "I'm a much higher quality of labor." Hearing this, Jin-seok immediately takes a menacing step forward. Ungrateful, why would I ever take back a traitor? Then, with a cold face, he reminds Seo-yun that he's already been kicked out due to character issues. But Seo-yun's attitude becomes even more determined. "You can order me to do anything. It doesn't matter how dirty it is. I'm ready." Faced with someone offering his services so willingly, Jin-seok gets an idea instantly. He then smiles and says, "You know Ma Young-gun, right? That kid is eyeing our territory. Go deal with him. Do this right, and I'll think about letting you back in." The next day, Seo-yoon gathers his things from school planning to leave soon, but right then a voice calls out to him. Jiho asks seriously, "Why are you quitting? Is it because of what happened in the arena?" He then advises him that he should return to the arena to prove himself, but these words instantly enrage Seo-yoon. Furious, he grabs Jiho by the collar and shouts, "You bastard, does seeing me hit rock bottom make you feel like some kind of hero? Watch your back at night. Because I won't bother with that damn arena anymore. I'm coming for you directly on the streets." With that, he storms off without even taking his things. Unaware that an envelope has fallen from his pocket by the time Jiho notices the letter on the ground, Seo-yoon has already vanished. That night, Seo-yoon arrives alone at an abandoned gas station carrying a metal pipe. Facing a group of clueless thugs, Seo-yoon gives them two options: join Cheon-bong or get lost. But as soon as he finishes, he is met with mockery. "I heard you stuck to Taeyang, but now they've kicked you out and you've crawled back to Cheon-bong." With that, two thugs swing their wooden sticks, ready to teach this outcast a lesson, but fortunately, Seo-yoon reacts quickly and blocks the attack. But at that moment, another one seizes the opportunity to rush forward. He swings hard at Seo-yoon's side. Surprisingly, even this surprise attack is caught firmly. Glaring at these pathetic guys, Seo-yoon immediately throws a kick that sends them both flying. Then he takes off his jacket and tells them, "Don't waste my time. Come at me all at once." While Seo-yoon faces Ma Young-gun, and his whole gang Jin Seok is just reaping the benefits. He takes a photo of the two strikes a lighter and burns it without hesitation because from the beginning, Jin Seok never had any intention of keeping Seo-yoon around. But seeing him desperately try to return, Jin Seok takes the opportunity to use him to deal with other gangs. After all, if Seo-yoon loses, he loses nothing. A guy like this can simply be used and discarded. Meanwhile, Seo-yoon's battle finally comes to an end. He manages to defeat dozens of thugs all on his own. Looking at a barely conscious Ma Young-gun, Seo-yoon arrogantly wipes the blood from his cheek. He had planned to give these guys two options, but now there's no need. He raises his foot and kicks Ma Young-gun hard in the face. "Get as far away as possible and never show your face again." Shortly after, rumors spread throughout the school that Seo-yoon has returned to Cheon-bong and plans to hunt down anyone at Yumi High who has a problem with him. Upon hearing the rumors, Jiho is surprised. He didn't expect Seo-yoon to retreat so quickly, but Hajun says it's completely normal. After all, Seo-yoon only came to school to get close to Taeyang. Now that they've abandoned him, leaving was inevitable. Besides, he's always been a loner without a single friend. Hearing this, Jiho remembers the letter Seo-yoon dropped earlier, so he follows the sender's information on the envelope and finds Jun Hye-seon, Seo-yoon's childhood friend. He explains that he found the letter by accident but doesn't know Seo-yoon's home address, so this was the only way to return it. Unexpectedly, Hye-seon says that she also has no way to return the letter to Seo-yoon. Since Seo-yoon left the orphanage, she only knows his school address, so she has been sending letters there. Upon learning that Seo-yoon grew up in an orphanage, Jiho is stunned. Hye-seon speaks with a touch of sadness. "I grew up with Seo-yoon since we were little. As an orphan, I was always bullied by the older kids when I was young, but every time that happened, Seo-yoon would become a hero and drive all the bullies away." But it didn't last long. When people at school found out that Seo-yoon was an orphan, they started to bully him, harass him mercilessly, and look for protection. Seo-yoon started hanging out with the Cheon-bong gang. When he reappeared after a long time, he seemed like a completely different person, showing confidence and carrying many gifts. To visit us at the orphanage. At first, it scared me how Seo-yoon had changed, but seeing how he kept treating the kids the same way, I think Seo-yoon never really changed deep down. With that, Hye-seon looks worried. Seo-yoon used to bring gifts and visit them every month, but she never expected that his recent absence was because he had dropped out of school. Two tears run down her cheeks. Clenching the envelope tightly, Hye-seon bursts into tears. She is truly terrified that one day, the Seo-yoon of her memories will disappear and become someone terrifying. Watching her, Jiho cannot help but feel a pang of sadness. That night on the roof of the Cheon-bong apartment building, Jin Seok holds a wrench in his hand, brutally punishing a subordinate who didn't complete his task. Afterward, he pats Seo-yoon on the shoulder and praises him. "You've still got it defeating Ma Young-gyun all by yourself." Then he says with a smile, "This settles your debt for betraying us." But if you want to officially rejoin Cheonbong, you'll have to pass even stricter tests. Seeing Jin Seok go back on his word, Seo Yoon is instantly enraged, but rejoining Cheonbong is his last option. So he grits his teeth and asks what else he wants. Jin Seok smiles maliciously. Didn't you promise you would do anything that includes murder? Upon hearing this, Seo Yoon freezes in surprise. Seeing his disbelief, Jin Seok suddenly bursts out laughing. You really believed me? But then his tone changes. Lighting a lighter, he tells Seo Yoon, what you really need to do is just as bad as murder. You need to set a motorcycle on fire. With that, he slaps a thick stack of bills hard onto Seo Yoon's chest. The client is paying millions just as a deposit. You don't see deals like this every day. Do this, and you'll be back in Cheonbong. Seo Yoon hesitates about this task. If something goes wrong, he could end up in a juvenile detention center. Struggling internally like this, somehow he finds himself at the orphanage where he grew up. But just as he stops and turns to leave, Hyeseon suddenly calls out to him. The two then go to the swings where they used to play. Hyeseon asks worriedly if he can return to the orphanage and live together like before. Upon hearing this, Seo Yoon sighs. Thank you, Hyeseon, but it's too late to go back. With that, he gets up and tells Hyeseon to take good care of the kids. He probably won't be able to visit for a while. Ignoring Hyeseon's attempts to make him stay, he leaves with a discouraged expression on his face. The next night in a parking lot, Seo Yoon decides to finally accept Jin Seok's task. He sprays a motorcycle with gasoline, then looks around, confirming there are no cameras. Just as Jin Seok said, he strikes a lighter. Completing this task is his only way out now, but just as he raises his hand to drop the lighter, a bucket of water suddenly splashes onto his face. Jiho sees Seo Yoon about to do something stupid and shouts, playing with fire in the middle of the night. Have you lost your mind? It turns out that 3 hours earlier, Seo Yoon had stopped Jiho on his way home with tears in her eyes. She said Seo Yoon might be about to do something dangerous, so she begged Jiho to help her stop him from doing anything stupid. To find out what Seo Yoon was up to, Jiho followed Ha-jun's advice and went to Cheonbong's territory. He asked two thugs on the rooftop about Seo Yoon's whereabouts. Seeing that they were keeping their mouths shut, he had to use his fists to get answers. Fortunately, he manages to stop Seo Yoon's foolishness before a disaster occurs. But this infuriates Seo Yoon. Furious, he grabs Jiho by the collar and yells, "Do you know anything about my life? Who are you to tell me what to do?" Jiho admits he doesn't, but someone who believes in you asked me to help you. Upon hearing this, Seo Yoon realizes it was Gizeon who has been worried about him. Jiho emphasizes again, she has always believed that you are a good person, so don't throw your life away. Seo Yoon never expected Gizeon would go this far for him, but just when he drops the lighter and prepares to leave, Jin Seok suddenly appears with a group of people. It turns out he has been watching Seo Yoon the whole time and has been secretly recording a video. The footage shows Seo Yoon spraying the motorcycle with gasoline. Just as the lighter is about to fall onto the fuel, a figure suddenly appears and kicks the lighter away. And that person is none other than Ha-jun. Behind him is the eyebrow guy. The reason they arrived just in time is thanks to Jiho's foresight. If he hadn't stopped Seo Yoon from committing arson on his way, he wouldn't have called Ha-jun and the eyebrow guy for backup. Just in case Seo Yoon's life would have been completely ruined. At this moment, the eyebrow guy looks angrily at the gang leader who made him cancel his date with his girlfriend. It turns out the guy has metal arm guards. With just one punch, the eyebrow guy is knocked down. Seeing this, Ha-jun immediately tries to step forward to help, but suddenly someone blocks him without saying a word. The guy launches a barrage of attacks at him. Ha-jun tries to seize an opportunity to counterattack, but something cuts his cheek. Looking closer, he sees that the guy's brass knuckles have blades sticking out. Seeing this, Jiho never expected these bastards to be so despicable. Even the guy coming after him is using two metal crutches and is speaking Japanese that Jiho doesn't understand at all. Seeing the Japanese guy charge at him, Jiho instinctively raises his arm to defend himself. But the force of the crutches is unimaginable. With just one blow, Jiho feels as if his ribs are breaking and he spits out blood. Finally, he is hit directly in the back. With a crutch, he collapses to the ground, temporarily losing the ability to resist. Seeing this, Jin Seok mocks, "Seo-jun, your friends seem to be in trouble. Aren't you going to help?" But as soon as he finishes, Seo-jun delivers a fierce kick. Unexpectedly, this kick only makes Seo-jun uncomfortable as a jacket falls to the ground. Jin Seok reveals a bulletproof vest hidden under his clothes, and in both hands he wears brass knuckles that deliver a serious blow. Seeing Jin Seok smile so smugly, Seo-jun immediately launches his signature kick, but it has no effect on Jin Seok. Instead, Jin Seok takes the opportunity and beats him to the ground. Meanwhile, the eyebrow guy is barely hanging on. Through repeated blocks, his arms are becoming increasingly numb. At this rate, he will completely lose his ability to fight. But then the eyebrow guy notices something suddenly. Because the guy has weapons on his arms, most of his attacks come in at angles. Instead of straight on, if he leans against a wall and removes the attack range, it would leave him defenseless. To test this theory, the eyebrow guy immediately climbs onto the railing. Sure enough, seeing this, the guy is speechless. On the other hand, Ha-jun has been brutally cut by the guy with the bowl cut. Fighting barehanded against sharp blades is almost impossible, but this time he can see the attacks coming, and for the first time, he dodges just barely by leaning back. This movement makes him realize that the guy's weapon with the bowl cut simply extends his reach. As long as he avoids exactly that reach, he has a chance to counterattack. Using this technique, Ha-jun manages to land a devastating blow to the bowl cut guy's jaw, but while his opponents are also using weapons, Ji-ho is being destroyed. Under the crutch attacks from the Japanese guy, he can't find any chance to counterattack. He has even been cornered into a narrow space. Between the cars, Ji-ho knows that as long as the Japanese guy has his weapon, there is no way he can win. The only solution is to get rid of those crutches. Then he accidentally notices his loose shoelaces. Just before the Japanese guy finds him, Ji-ho ties his two shoes together with the laces. When the Japanese guy charges at him, swinging the crutches wildly, Ji-ho uses the laces to instantly bind the guy's hands together along with the crutches. Without his means of attack, the Japanese guy can only endure the relentless beating from Ji-ho. Meanwhile, Seo-hyun is no match for Jin Seok at all, because his most lethal kicks and the steel plates in his legs were taught to him by Jin Seok. When Seo-hyun had nowhere to go, it was Jin Seok who took him in and personally taught him fighting techniques, seeing that Seo-hyun was a rare talent. That was worth developing. He specially gifted him iron weights for his legs, and as someone with experience told Seo-hyun, "In this world, it's not the strong who win, but the winners who are strong." And so Seo-hyun was influenced by Jin Seok's ideology and would do anything he asked. But then that incident happened. Finally, Seo-hyun realized that Cheon-bong was not his salvation, but a noose tightening around his neck. However, even now, Jin Seok tries to brand him as ungrateful. He even raises his fist to finish him off completely. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Ji-ho lunges forward and blocks the lethal blow with a crutch. Jin Seok recognizes this as his subordinate's weapon. Realizing something is wrong, he suddenly looks behind him. His three most capable enforcers have been defeated by 3 teenagers. But then Jin Seok suddenly laughs. "Although I don't know why you would do so much for Seo-hyun, you should still be careful. He's not worth it. After all, he is someone who can betray others at any moment." Seo-hyun has no choice but to explain, "Years ago, I learned from Jin Seok. The director of the orphanage where I grew up to pay off debts to Cheon-bong's loan sharks was making the children of the orphanage transport illegal goods. So for the children's safety, I had no choice but to use force to drive the director away. But this meant that Cheon-bong couldn't collect the debt, and as the person primarily responsible for taking the heat from the principal over Jin Seok's suspicions and accusations, he didn't offer any defense and took all the blame himself, but that changed after hearing Seo-hyun's explanation. Jin Seok just laughs. He actually knew the reason from the start. He realized Seo-hyun chose a group of useless orphans over Cheon-bong. With that, Jin Seok takes a malicious fighting stance. He's going to settle this grudge today no matter what. Seeing this, Ji-ho immediately threatens, "Back off now, 4 against 1, you're going to fall hard." Jin Seok scoffs in disdain, and in the next second, a massive mob of subordinates surrounds them on all sides. With a single command from him, they all charge forward, brandishing metal pipes. Witnessing this, Jiho and the other three are terrified and bewildered, but Hajun quickly calms down, even though they are at a massive numerical disadvantage. As long as they stick together, they can fight their way out. As he watches Jiho and the others prepare to fight to the bitter end, Seo-hyun looks confused. He doesn't understand why they would go this far, but while he's distracted, a punch suddenly lands. With one strike, Jin-seok sends him flying to the ground. While Jiho and the others are caught in the chaos, Seo-hyun is also reeling. Seeing Jin-seok clench his fist again to build up power, Seo-hyun plans to block with a kick and look for another opening, but unexpectedly, the leg protection breaks instantly. Without his only advantage, Seo-hyun deflates like a popped balloon. He lets Jin-seok knock him back several meters. Looking down at the fallen Seo-hyun, Jin-seok mocks him cruelly. "See now! Without everything I gave you, you're just a piece of useless trash. Someone who can't do anything." Seo-hyun is already on the ground, defeated, his fighting spirit fading. But then he suddenly looks up and sees Jiho and the others. Even facing an assault from a mob, they are still fighting with unwavering determination. How can he give up so soon? So he gets rid of the leg weights that Jin-seok gave him. He will fight to the end with his own true strength, fairly and squarely. But to Jin-seok, this is pure suicide. He immediately leaps forward to finish Seo-hyun off once and for all. But unexpectedly, Seo-hyun dodges easily. Seo-hyun himself is surprised. His movements are actually much faster than before. Not only can he dodge all of Jin-seok's moves, but he can even land kicks on vital points. It turns out that after getting rid of the leg weights, this is his true speed. As he leaps into the air and delivers a final kick, their twisted relationship finally comes to an end. In this moment, Seo-hyun suddenly realizes that what he thought was protecting him were actually the chains holding him back. But then Jin-seok refuses to accept defeat and gets back up, throwing his fists. He refuses to accept defeat at the hands of someone he considers worthless, but Seo-hyun's strength is now far greater than his, with just one move. He finishes it completely. Looking at the defeated Jin-seok, Seo-hyun says, "The advice you took to heart, it's not the strong who win, but the winners who are strong. You taught me that, Jin-seok." At this moment, seeing their boss defeated, the henchmen panic, but then they see that the enemies are still coming for them. They decide to abandon their boss and flee in a panic. Now that the crisis is resolved, Seo-hyun collapses on the ground exhausted. But just as he was about to pass out, the hand suddenly reaches out toward him. Jiho smiles and says, "You won, so get up. You fought much better without those leg weights." Seo-hyun looks at this scene stunned. It's a perfect reflection of the day he was defeated by Jiho, except back then he couldn't take Jiho's hand. But this time he won't let it pass. The next second, a familiar voice calls out. Ha-yeon suddenly runs toward them with tears streaming down her face. Before Seo-hyun can react, Ha-yeon hugs him. "Do you know how worried I was?" Seo-hyun gently strokes Ha-yeon to comfort her. "Everything is settled now. I won't make you worry anymore." The next day back at school, Jiho suddenly realizes his wallet is missing. It doesn't just have his bank card, but also his student ID. At that moment, Jiho is surprised to see that Seo-hyun, who had quit, has actually returned to school. He hadn't planned on coming back, but last night Jae-jun cried and begged him to return to school and become the person he used to know. Then he caught him off guard and made him pinky promise. So as he promised, of course, he has to keep his word. But Seo-hyun has barely sat down when Kang Tae-yang appears with a group of people. "I heard you defeated Cheon-bong, so I'm considering whether to take you back. After all, the Kang-yoon gang reserve team is your only way out." But Seo-hyun flatly refuses. Now he will find his own path forward. Before this, he thought that by joining the Kang-yoon gang's reserve team, they would provide him with a semi-basement dorm, which was the only benefit he could get, and the best option for someone without a family. All along, his only goal as a loner was to find a place to belong, and that was how he went astray in the end. All that remained was violence and betrayal. After all, he realizes that the place he was looking for was right in front of him the whole time. Looking at Hae-jong and the playful kids, Seo-hyun happily opens his arms and pulls his most important family into a hug. However, to his surprise, Jiho, Hae-jong, and the boy with the eyebrows appear as guests, specifically invited by Hae-jong. As the group enjoys a cheerful meal together, Jiho can't help but ask Seo-hyun how the motorcycle situation was resolved. Seo-hyun replies that when the owner appears, he will compensate him properly. Although he isn't sure who the owner is, he heard it's a well-known student in the area. Jiho is puzzled. Did that kid do something against Cheonbong? Seo-jin explains that the person has nothing to do with Cheonbong. Cheonbong messed up a job and was hit with retaliation previously. Big gangs like Kangyun used to hire Cheonbong to commit crimes in their name. This motorcycle arson incident was the same thing. And Cheonbong, meanwhile, in the parking lot, a group gathers around looking at the gasoline-covered motorcycle. Hwan Do-yeon, the boss of Jinsun High, is furious. Someone tried to set fire to my baby. When I find out who did this, they'll be dead meat. But as soon as he finishes, a subordinate behind him suddenly shouts. He has found a wallet left on the ground. The next day, worried that the Baeksan gang might come after him, Jiho asks anxiously about Mia's situation. But unexpectedly, he runs into Mi asking him for a date. Looking at the girl he has been interested in for days, Jiho instantly forgets all his worries, because this is his first date with a girl. Yesterday, he researched online and prepared thoroughly. So today, he first takes Mi to a beautiful Italian restaurant. After the meal, they go to a dreamy decorated cafe. He orders cake and sweet drinks, which girls love. But just when he is about to pay, he accidentally spills coins from his pocket all over the floor. Since he lost his wallet a few days ago, he can only pay with loose change. Seeing this, Mi quickly offers to pay. To spare him the embarrassment, she actually asked Jiho out to properly thank him for last time. Upon discovering the truth, Jiho feels quite disappointed. As expected, Mi is not interested in that way. No wonder she has been uncomfortable all this time. So to take the pressure off Mi, suddenly stands up and sincerely apologizes. Actually, this is my first time going out alone with a girl, so I planned some date activities. Pretty silly, right? Maya's surprised. No, what are you saying? You've got it all wrong, Jiho. Actually, she doesn't like Western food, and it's her first time in such a girly cafe. That's why she felt uncomfortable. Then she smiles playfully and asks, so do you want to do something else? And just like that, completely caught off guard, Jiho is whisked away by Mi to an amusement park to ride the Ferris wheel. It's the first time Jiho has seen her laugh so happily, so even though he's dizzy and nauseous, he has to endure it. But before he can recover, Mai drags him to the pirate ship, then the roller coaster, the drop tower, every exciting ride. After enduring all this torture, Jiho's legs give out, and he collapses on the ground completely exhausted. When night falls, the two head home together. Mai thanks Jiho for his company today and suggests they can hang out like this more often. Jiho feels incredibly shy but still gathers the courage to ask her out again. However, just as he's about to speak, some blinding lights suddenly illuminate them. The owner of the motorcycle has found them and pulls out Jiho's dropped wallet. Without saying a word, he wants to fight Jiho. Jiho wants to explain what really happened, but Do-yeon, blinded by anger, lunges straight at him. He stubbornly insists that Jiho was the one who sprayed his motorcycle with gasoline. Seeing this, Mi rushes to stop them. But suddenly, two of Do-yeon's subordinates appear and block her path, looking at the girl and telling her to get lost. Mi suddenly raises her leg and delivers an unexpected blow to his head. She thought this would make him back off, but unexpectedly the guy is completely unharmed and catches her attack. At this moment, seeing Mi in danger, Jiho immediately rushes forward to take the guy down, but is suddenly grabbed by Do-yeon and violently thrown to the ground. Looking at Do-yeon's crazed expression, Jiho realizes there is no way to reason with him, so the only way out is to defeat him. And Do-yeon, with new and old grudges, immediately launches a furious barrage of attacks on Jiho. Finally, seeing an opportunity, he goes for his signature chokehold, but to his surprise, Jiho accurately predicts and instantly counters his move. After their battle at the abandoned construction site, Jiho discovered that many people in the arena used Do-yeon's technique, so he immediately found a way to counter it. But he still underestimated Do-yeon's fighting ability and got his right leg caught in a hold. Do-yeon lifts him onto his shoulder and then violently throws him forward. To make matters worse, they land in the riverbed. Jiho tries to get up, but Do-yeon charges at him again and grabs his head, trying to drown him because Do-yeon absolutely will not let anyone belittle him. Back when he was shorter than his peers, Someone particularly liked to bully him using the ridiculous reason that he was cute. They bullied him relentlessly. Finally, in a school where power equals authority, after enduring countless beatings, he understood one thing at the bottom: to fight monsters, you must become one yourself. So he began to study the most effective combat techniques for someone of smaller build. With these skills, he became someone everyone feared. But just as this was about to end with confidence, Jiho hits him with a splash of water suddenly striking his eyes. Jiho takes advantage of Doyun's temporary inability to fight to quickly get out of the water, and explain again that he really didn't do anything to the motorcycle. But Doyun only gets angrier, thinking he is still making excuses with his life. On the line, seeing this, Jiho panics. If Doyun grabs him again, it will all be over. But then an idea crosses his mind. Then, trapped against the wall, by Doyun, Jiho does something completely out of character and provokes, "You're a cute little guy. You're still the same as before. Nothing has changed at all." Doyun is deeply hurt by the words "cute little guy." He immediately uses all his strength to choke Jiho. In an instant, Jiho screams in pain, and at this moment, he uses his last bit of effort to grab Doyun's arm. He screams desperately to the other side, "Attack him now, right now!" Upon receiving the signal, Mi springs into action, using all her strength. She kicks Doyun, who is completely defenseless, and sends him flying. Witnessing this, Jiho is completely surprised. Mi's skill level is far beyond what he expected. Just when the two think it's all over and prepare to go home, Doyun, who has climbed out of the water, suddenly yells at them, "That was supposed to tickle me, you cute little things." Ignoring their terrified stares, he moves forward and grabs Jiho by the neck, slamming him hard against the wall. Jiho thought he had grown so much, but his punches still have no effect on this monster. At this moment, seeing what is happening, Mi immediately runs forward to rescue him. But Doyun kicks her instantly. Then he grabs Jiho with one hand, lifts him onto his shoulder, preparing to completely finish off the guy who has bothered him many times. But just then, a motorcycle suddenly appears. With just one look, Doyun recognizes it as his beloved motorcycle. But before he can see who dares to ride it, the motorcycle crashes into them at full speed and violently separates him from Jiho. Seeing this, Doyun forgets about Jiho and immediately yells at the motorcyclist, "You bastard, get off my bike!" But the person replies, "If you're going to hit someone, at least pick the right guy. Don't attack innocent people." As he speaks, Jiho finally recognizes who the person on the motorcycle is. It's Seo-jun. And the reason he is here is that an hour ago he was at an arcade and saw some thugs who had angered him. They were talking about going after Jiho, so he used a little trick to get them to bring him here. At this moment, the man in black explains awkwardly, "Boss, based on what that guy told us, I think there has been a big misunderstanding." Upon hearing this, Doyun is completely confused. "Are you saying there's someone else?" Seeing this, Seo-jun immediately points at himself and says the culprit is him. In fact, Jiho was the one who protected the motorcycle. With that, he hands over the evidence, the chat logs showing the head of Cheonbong Kang Jin Seok ordering him to commit arson. But strictly speaking, it was actually the Bisan gang who orchestrated it. Upon learning the truth, Doyun is stunned, unable to believe it. He immediately grabs Seo-jun by the neck, telling him to tell everything, if he doesn't want to die. After Seo-jun explains everything in detail, Doyun becomes completely enraged. He never imagined that those lunatics from Baeksan would dare to cross the line like this. Seo-jun asks, somewhat confused, who exactly these people are that would go so far just to bother him. Faced with this, Doyun's expression suddenly, things are getting dark. The Baeksan gang wants to unite all the high schools in the area, so they've been doing everything they can to get to him. Recently, they even invited him to their club. They laid out piles of cash and told him to hand over Jinseon High. They even threatened that refusing would lead to devastating consequences. But he flat out rejected their offer. After that, the Baeksan gang started using violence against Jinseon High, turning the school into a wasteland. Even though he's determined not to join those scumbags, no matter what, keeping the school safe isn't easy, because besides Yumin High and Jinseon High, they have absorbed every other school in the area, making their organization massive, especially the 5 dragons made up of the Baeksan gang's elite. Meanwhile, 4 of the 5 dragons of the Baeksan gang are meeting at headquarters. Taimin, ranked 5th in the gang, is pretty annoyed because Cheonbong ruined the job. Seeing this, the fourth-ranked Choi Noan suggests they just go and destroy Jinseon High directly. Upon hearing this, the third-ranked Maria's interest is immediately sparked. There's no need for everyone to go. She'll handle Doyeon all by herself. Unexpectedly, the second-ranked genius immediately shuts down their ideas. He calls them fools, saying they have to wait for orders from above. The boss warned them not to act recklessly, but just as Genius finishes speaking, a figure suddenly pushes open the door. 5 dragons of the Baksan gang, nice to see you. Following right behind him is Ming Wu from Yumin High. This place is still raking in. At Gold, business must be booming. Genius plays along on the surface, saying, it's not that great, just enough to get by. Behind the scenes, he secretly drops a pill into his drink and then hands it to Ming Wu, telling him, have a drink. You must be tired from the trip. This will quench your thirst. Ming Wu probably guesses what's in it and opens his mouth eagerly, wanting to drink it right away, but Taehyung stops him right then and there. We're not here to have fun. Keep your cool. Hearing this, Ming Wu sets the glass down reluctantly, his hands shaking. The drugs already have him hooked. Seeing this, Genius smiles. Looks like someone is pretty anxious. Let's get started then. As the group sits down to discuss, Tai Yang keeps asking if there are stronger drugs to defeat Minho. We need more potent effects. This completely infuriates Genius, who smashes the table with a single blow. Do you think the Baksan gang are just some drug dealers? Watch your tongue. If our boss didn't have ties to your father, we would have crushed you a long time ago. If you really want to take down Yumin High, you have to accept some conditions before we can keep working together. The next day, fully aware of his weakness, Jiho trains desperately, preparing to face those. After thinking for a moment, Ha-jun thinks of someone, one of the strongest disciplinary members in the school, Ro Sun-woo, who holds the title of the strongest grappler at Yumin High. Jiho immediately gets up and asks where he is. Then, in an instant, he rushes toward the place. This surprises both Hyun and the kid with the eyebrows, because the place where that guy is found is off-limits to other students. Unaware of this, the moment Jiho opens the farm door, he is immediately slammed to the ground with one hand. Then, like lifting a little chick, he tosses him aside and warns him not to come near the farm. After learning the reason, Jiho bows repeatedly in apology, but all he gets in return is a severe scolding. Watching their backs, Jiho can't help but wonder what kind of person he is. So to learn his fighting techniques, he starts following him daily to learn his preferences. An 18-year-old high school student takes in the illegitimate child his mother had without telling anyone. Originally, he planned to wash his hands of it and send the baby to an orphanage, but when he saw his little brother's innocent eyes, he couldn't help but remember his own helpless childhood. With a good heart, he decided to give refuge to this brother he had never met. So with Minho's help, he secured the school farm and started living there in secret. Although conditions were tough, he never regretted it. In his bitter life, his brother Won became his only reason to keep going. And just when he thought this life could continue, the loan sharks who lent money to his mother suddenly appear, demanding that Jongwoo grill meat for them. Personally, they mock him, saying it doesn't matter where Jongwoo hides, they can find him. Upon hearing this, Sung-ho suppresses his anger, asking why they are causing trouble when he has been paying the interest on time for his mother. Unexpectedly, they tell him that some guys bought their debt and even specifically asked what Sang-woo treasures most. To thank the buyer, they immediately told them about Sang-woo taking care of his brother because of his useless mother. Upon hearing this news, Sang-woo's world collapses. He instantly loses control and grabs the man by the collar, roaring that he warned them not to touch Won, but the man laughs indifferently, saying he shouldn't be in such a hurry to return to see his brother instead of punishing him now. Upon hearing this, Sun-woo immediately throws him aside with force. With a murderous expression, he warns them to be prepared, or if anything happens to Won, he will make them all pay with their lives. With that, Sun-woo rushes frantically through the door, running desperately toward the small house where he and Won live. Jiho, who has been following him, is surprised and confused, but decides to continue following him in silence. At this moment, Sungu finally arrives at the house. But when he opens the door, he doesn't find a trace of Won. He stares in disbelief at the empty room in front of him. This is a place that even the loan sharks didn't know about. But what he doesn't know is that his brother actually left alone to fold a paper rooster as a birthday gift for his brother. One had to sneak out to buy colored paper. However, just as he was about to return home, a voice suddenly calls out to him, "Hey kid, we're friends of your brother. Want to hang out tonight?" Sang-woo has searched almost the entire city. Suddenly, he hears his brother weakly calling him. When he turns around, it's Won, whom he has been desperately looking for. The moment he sees his brother Sung-woo can no longer contain his emotions and lunges forward, hugging him tightly. Upon hearing his explanation, Sung-woo gently strokes his head like a father, saying, "Having you Won is all I need. Don't scare me like that again." Upon hearing this, Won smiles happily, saying, "Don't worry. Your friends brought me here safely." As soon as he finishes, those three thugs suddenly appear. Officer Kim Doi from the Baeksan gang smiles and says, "Nice to meet you, so you're Sung-woo. From now on, just pay your debts to us Baeksan gang. In simple terms, we are your new masters." Upon hearing this, Sang-woo understands they are the ones who bought his debt. But to keep his brother out of danger, he can only pretend not to believe them and avoid these people at first. But unexpectedly, Doi suddenly grabs Won's hand, taking him by surprise, and snatching the paper rooster away. Completely ignoring Won's sobbing pleas, he crushes the gift prepared for his brother with his own hands, arrogantly telling Won, "In this complicated world, having a guardian with no money or power leads to this." Seeing his brother's devastated expression suddenly makes rage explode inside Sung-woo. But just then, Ji-ho, who has been following him, suddenly steps forward and kicks the man. Ji-ho then turns to Sung-woo and says, "This isn't a farm. It's okay if I step in, right?" But unexpectedly, as soon as he finishes, Sung-woo suddenly stops him because he will personally take care of anyone who threatens his brother. So after trusting Hwan to Ji-ho's care, he calmly catches the incoming fist and with just a little force easily breaks the man's wrist. They have made it this far thanks to Hwan, but just then another redhead foolishly attempts a surprise attack. After a violent storm of kicks, the man who once competed in international taekwondo arrogantly knocks Sung-woo to the ground. But he never imagines that this is completely a trap set by Sung-woo, using the deliberate fall to trap one of the red-haired man's legs. Then staying close to the ground so he cannot counter. Seeing this, Ji-ho gets worried and wants to run to help, but Sung-woo uses the momentum to push himself off of Doi's back and leaps into the air, then instantly slides down using both legs to lock firmly around his neck with just a bit of force. Doi cannot breathe, trapped and unable to move by Sung-woo. Finally, the three defeated men call to report to their boss, finding out that everything was a fiasco. Taemin angrily tells them to return to the stadium and wait for punishment for failing the mission. With that, he hangs up, directly ignoring Doi's pleas. Although Taemin knows very well that Doi cannot beat Sung-woo, with Han-jae's usefulness at the stadium having run out, the unfortunate Doi will have to replace him. Meanwhile, because of this crisis, the misunderstanding between Ji-ho and Sung-woo is completely resolved, and to thank Ji-ho for his help, Sung-woo offers to return the favor. Upon hearing this, Ji-ho scratches his cheeks shyly, then gathers the courage to say out loud that he wants to learn to fight from him, especially the ground fighting techniques that he showed tonight. Upon hearing this request, Sung-woo is surprised but doesn't refuse. The next morning, Sung-woo is already waiting at the training field. Seeing the three of them arrive with enthusiasm as agreed, Sung-woo can't help but smile. The people from Human High really haven't changed at all, but he quickly asks with a serious expression, "Why is someone missing? Didn't I tell you to form a team?" Unexpectedly, as soon as he finishes, Seo-jin appears looking reluctant. Ji-ho and the other three are speechless at the sight. He begged to come, but now he acts like he is doing them a favor. Upon hearing the commotion, Sung-woo immediately interrupts and gets to the point. After introducing, seriously, a bunch of combat techniques, he says that if they want to learn to fight on the ground, they can simply find videos online and practice. With that, he grabs a large rock from the ground. And under everyone's surprised gaze, he instantly crushes the stone into fragments with his bare hands. This is what he is teaching today. This terrifies the four of them immediately, but to become stronger, Ji-ho and Seo-jin lead the charge without hesitation, constantly switching between various brutal exercises and training. Even when their palms are covered in wounds, the four still endure the hardest training day after day. After finally completing the first stage of training, Sungwoo asks Jiho with confusion why he is so obsessed with becoming stronger because it is the first time he has seen someone train as seriously as Jiho. Hearing this, Jiho confesses that he really loves Human High. Here he made friends for the first time who enjoy training together. It is also the first time he looks forward to going to school, but then people appeared threatening Human High. To protect what he treasures, that is why he wants to become stronger at this moment. Upon hearing these words, Sungwoo finally understands. I understand why Minho trained you. You are very similar to someone he valued. Meanwhile, Minho arrives at someone's house. After greeting the owner kindly, he climbs the stairs with ease. Looking at the pile of dishes stacked outside the door, Minho cannot help but put his hand on the door and ask, "How are you? It's been a long time since I visited, right? Recently, many interesting things happened at school. There is a story I must tell you." Upon hearing this, the boy inside moves a little. Do you remember that first-year exchange student I told you about last time? He has transformed from someone who only received beatings to being completely adapted to the fighting arena. Jae-yoon, the fighting arena we created is thriving. What do you think? The boy in the room still does not respond. But after hearing Minho's story for the first time, his heart is moved. Afterward, Minho returns to the fighting ring to practice boxing. Seeing his discouraged state, Woobin immediately realizes that he must have visited Jae-yoon. Upon learning that Jae-yoon still does not respond to anything, Woobin comforts him, telling him, "Let's wait a little longer. When he is ready, he will talk." Then he says he has finished investigating what Minho asked for. The Vaksan Gang is not a simple organization, although it was established recently. They have already oppressed many schools, and everyone involved with them is a drug user or a violent criminal, complete lunatics. But the most problematic part is that they keep declaring they will swallow the entire city of Shinryong. Upon hearing this news, Minho hits the punching bag with a fist full of anger. It seems it's time to remind everyone who is in charge. 1 week later, a member of the Vaksan gang with bleached hair speaks softly to the woman beside him, taking her to a nightclub. Immediately, a man appears speaking a mixture of English and Korean, introducing himself as Dave. On the surface, he is the nightclub manager, but behind the scenes, he is also the arena manager. Upon learning that the woman came specifically to gamble here, Dave immediately takes her to the basement level, enthusiastically presenting his exclusive arena. But just when he wants to stay to watch the next fight with the woman, his phone rings at an inopportune moment, so he has to give instructions to his subordinate before rushing out. When he pushes the door of the private room inside, is Sungwoo, whom he has been waiting for anxiously, but Dave doesn't ask about hurting the members of the Vaksan gang. Instead, he goes straight to the point, inviting Sungwoo to work together. With that, he takes the remote control the curtains. In front of them open, slowly revealing the full arena that roars with noise below. At this moment, Doi has become a ground fighter for failing his mission facing the gang of 5 money slaves who pay debts with their bodies. Dave explains proudly, "You can think of this as a place for underground fight betting. But of course, you can't think of this as an ordinary fighting tournament. In this arena, any dirty tactic is allowed, and it is precisely this brutal violence that keeps attracting bettors." Then Dave looks at Sungwoo with a sly smile. "With the reputation of Human High and your skills, you will be worth a fortune as a fighter." With that, he points to the electronic screen in front of them. It shows the amounts bet by the audience on this match. With that kind of money, the winner's share will be huge. So as long as Sungwoo cooperates with them, he won't just be able to pay off his debts. He'll get a generous payout, too. Sungwoo stares at the hand stretched out toward him. After thinking it over for a moment, he says he needs to consider it. After all, he has someone to look after, and getting hurt would be bad. Hearing this, Dave's expression darkens instantly. But not wanting to push Sungwoo away, he generously hands him his business card, telling Sungwoo to decide this week and reach out if he has any questions. After all, the fact that they can even have this civilized conversation is mercy enough. The next day at the Yumi High farm, Sungwoo accompanies his brother to feed the chickens with a worried mind. Even though the Vaksan Gang arena is insane, if he can hold his own there for a while, he can escape the debt collectors and maybe offer Juan a better environment, a better place to grow up. So faced with Jiho's sudden visit, Sung-woo immediately asks him to help look after his brother for the day, saying he has something to take care of tonight. Jiho agrees, feeling confused but willing. He never imagined that kids could be so hard to handle. After a short while, he's completely exhausted. But just then, he finds a business card that clearly says Baeksang Gang Club. Sensing trouble, Jiho brings Hajun and the guy with the eyebrows along. That night, following the address on the card to a place with a long line, just as they are secretly watching what this place is, Seo-jun suddenly appears out of nowhere. He says it's just a nightclub. Although both minors and adults can get in, the entry standards are apparently quite high since it's a private club. There's something like a password. Just then, the crowd suddenly stirs. They see Han Jae-yu getting beaten up while trying to get in, only to be rejected. So Jiho seizes the opportunity. With Seo-jun and the others, he corners Han Jae-yu in an alley. Then, through Jiho's interrogation, Han Jae-yu proposes that, as long as they can bring him what he needs from the club, he'll tell them everything he knows. So after getting Jiho's agreement, Han Jae-yu immediately starts with a detailed explanation. This club, which looks like a church, needs such strict security because inside it's a fight-betting den, also known as the arena. They profit from high school students fighting, and the arena is the reason he looks the way he does now. But the people in the arena aren't there because they want to fight. They're all either in debt to Baeksang Gang or being blackmailed. Then Han Jae-yu reminds them with a sinister smile that the person they are looking for might have something to do with Baeksang Gang. But unfortunately, once you enter, you won't get out because those guys put addictive drugs in the drinks. Once someone takes those drugs, they become their slave hooked for life with no escape. So the four of them, having learned the truth, immediately arrive at the club entrance. After saying the password Han Jae-yu gave them, they immediately get permission to enter, but they specifically stop Jiho and the guy with the eyebrows. The reason: people without style aren't allowed in. Seeing this, Hajun and Seo-jun gloat as they enter the club, leaving Jiho and the guy with the eyebrows outside lamenting. When the two of them get inside the club to investigate further, they decide to split up immediately. Seo-jun, a regular in places like this, quickly strikes up a conversation with the women, asking if there's a more interesting place in the club. The woman understands immediately and takes Seo-jun to that spot. Meanwhile, outside, Jiho and the guy with the eyebrows are trying every way possible to make themselves look more attractive. Just when the guy with the eyebrows wonders where to find clothes, the next second, he turns around to find Han Jae-yu not far away. The two immediately smile mischievously as they reach out their hands. After thoroughly looting Han Jae-yu, Jiho and the guy with the eyebrows finally get a taste of the adult life, arriving confidently at the club entrance again. Surprisingly, they are allowed in. But unexpectedly, the guy with the eyebrows is stopped again. Only Jiho is allowed in. Seeing Jiho's smug expression, the guy with the eyebrows nearly loses his mind. He really is the worst of the four. On the other hand, Seo-jun has already followed the woman to the basement. When he thoughtfully opens that door, inside is indeed the arena that Han Jae-yu mentioned. But just as he is shocked by this, Ha-jun, who has been waiting here with a woman on each arm, mocks him for arriving so late, then acting innocent. He says that after splitting up with Seo-jun, he just stayed there, and these two women kindly approached him and brought him here. Hearing this, Seo-jun is absolutely furious. Why is Ha-jun so popular with the women? But just then, a new match begins in the arena. The red corner, the Five Cutters gang. Proud of their undefeated record against the blue corner, the famous Yumi High fighter Sung-woo. But before the match, the gang makes him drink a highly addictive stimulant. After the boy refuses, the gang leader mocks him, saying, "All the fighters in this arena take drugs before going up. How long? Do you think you can hold out against them in that state? So just in case, take this first. If you get tired fighting, take it out and swallow it. It will change the course of the match." After accepting the drug, Sung-woo is sent with his bare hands into the fighting cage to face 5 fully armed, undefeated, and drugged-up fighters. The moment the octagonal cage closes, the atmosphere instantly ignites. The classmates who rushed here to stop him are completely shocked by this scene. They really don't understand why Sung-woo would participate in such a dangerous fight, but for Sung-woo in the cage, he is committed. There is no turning back, and even if what follows is a brutal battle, he must persist. At this moment, a gang member raises his weapon and initiates an attack, but unexpectedly, his first strike misses completely. Instead, Sung-woo seizes the opportunity, instantly dropping his body to grab the man's thigh, forcibly lifting a 200-pound brute. grabbing his neck firmly and throwing him hard to the floor. However, just as Sung-woo is about to finish off the man beneath him, another person, seeing this, immediately throws a spiked club for a surprise attack. But Sung-woo, already aware of the danger, quickly leans back, dodging the attack while holding on to the person's body. Then he lifts him up completely and executes a fierce rear suplex aimed at the man who is still struggling on the ground, crashing into him with devastating force. Seeing Sung-woo subdue two people in one move, Ha-jun and Seo-jun immediately feel less worried. But at that moment, a man nearby tells them not to celebrate too soon. The slasher gang isn't strong just because of their weapons. In fact, as the man said through the previous exchange, the knife gang leader has analyzed that Sung-woo excels at ground fighting, so he immediately throws the chain in his hand, then orders two subordinates to move forward, attacking ruthlessly at Sung-woo from both sides. To dodge their attacks, Sung-woo is forced into a corner, completely unaware of the chain coming from behind in an instant. The two of them grab one end of the chain, surprising him and binding him tight. Seeing this, Seo-jun is stunned, but the man standing nearby doesn't seem surprised at all. Not in the slightest. The strength of the slasher gang doesn't lie in the weapons in their hands, but in their sharp eyes, which can analyze every move the enemy makes. In an instant, Sung-woo becomes an easy target, shredded by the masked man's sharp claws. But as the attacker lunges again to finish him off, Sung-woo flashes a meaningful smile. Ignoring the unbearable pain from the chains pulling on him, he suddenly charges at his opponent, seizing the chance to pin him down. He holds him firmly with his legs. Before the guy can react, a fierce headbutt strikes suddenly, instantly shattering the mask and sending blood splattering everywhere. Seeing this, the other two henchmen are terrified. However, just when Sung-woo thinks the fight is finally over, the announcer suddenly declares a second round. He's forced to face the new fighter, the former Vixen gang officer Doji. His subordinate Ha-jun is instantly worried that they won't even let him bandage his wounds. It's completely ruthless. But as soon as it ends, Seo-jun suddenly claps a hand on his shoulder, saying they can't just watch these lunatics treat Sung-woo like that. They have to go up there and stop the next fight. But unexpectedly, the moment they step onto the platform, they are immediately kicked off by the announcer. Even the audience below is screaming for them to get lost and not interfere with their game. Hearing this, Seo-jun is furious, shouting that if they don't like it, they should come up here and fight him. But just as the confrontation continues, a voice suddenly booms from all around. Taemin is on the mic. "Relax, everyone. This is a special event we've organized." The bets are now open for the 3-on-3 match between Sung-woo Min-hee and Doji. As he finishes, every spectator in the arena pulls out their phone, and they start placing bets on the match. Seeing the situation, Seo-jun and Ha-jun have no choice but to stay on the platform to fight alongside their superior. But unexpectedly, before the fight even starts, Doji mocks the three of them, confidently claiming he is fully prepared and will definitely win this match. Hearing this, Sung-woo tells him to shut his mouth and finish this quickly. Ji-ho is still at home helping take care of his brother, so he needs to get back fast. But the next second, he hears from Seo-jun that Ji-ho actually came here too. Upon hearing this news, Sung-woo's heart is immediately filled with anxiety. Then suddenly, facing Doji and his two men as they rush to attack Sung-woo, is too worried about his brother, and he's accidentally grabbed by Doji, who slams him hard onto the floor. Sung-woo didn't expect this fat guy to know grappling techniques too. But it doesn't change anything, because no matter what moves they pull, he can handle them all with ease. To return quickly to his brother's side, Sung-woo launches a fierce assault on Doji, finally sending the 300-pound man flying with a single blow. At that moment, Ha-jun and Seo-jun have already subdued the other two. Just when Sung-woo thinks the fight is over, Doji suddenly starts stuffing handfuls of pills into his mouth. Seeing this, a nearby subordinate wants to warn him that it's dangerous, but he's threatened to shut up and take the rest. They're dead anyway, they're losing. Under the influence of the drugs, Doji instantly becomes even more murderous than before and attacks Sung-woo. Like a madman, Sung-woo immediately throws a punch at Doji's head, but what he doesn't expect is that the blow has absolutely no effect on Doji. Instead, his head is grabbed tightly and immediately slammed into the concrete floor. Blood pours from his mouth instantly. At this moment, Doji looks down at a defeated Sung-woo and, unsatisfied, keeps pressing his head down and slamming it frantically until Sung-woo is a bloody mess, barely breathing. However, just when Doji thinks victory is within reach and clenches his fist to strike Sungwoo's head, the apparently dying Sungwoo miraculously catches his attack and instantly retaliates with a punch to his jaw, completely reversing the losing situation. At this moment, Doji is trapped underneath. He can't understand why he still can't win despite taking so many drugs. Hearing this, Sungwoo grabs his neck tightly and says, "People only become truly strong when they have something to protect." Meanwhile, at the club, Jiho is trying to quickly find Sungwoo, but he's accidentally attacked by the club manager, Dave. Dave immediately sends his subordinates to attack him, so to protect himself, Jiho takes down all the henchmen with a single blow. To get Sungwoo's whereabouts out of Dave, he launches a fierce offensive against him. But Dave's reaction speed is surprisingly fast. No matter how many punches Jiho throws, he can't land a single hit. But facing the elusive opponent, Jiho tries to corner him, but Dave uses his subordinate's head to block the attacks. He even takes the opportunity to smash a bottle against Jiho's arm. In an instant, Jiho feels a sharp pain in his left eye. Glass fragments have entered his eye. Just as he loses focus, Dave suddenly sends him flying with a blow. After calming down, Jiho realizes that in his current state he can only rely on grappling techniques to fight this despicable opponent. So he moves in instantly and grabs Dave's leg, thinking this will be enough to subdue him. But unexpectedly, at this very moment, Jiho suddenly feels his right arm go numb, losing all its strength. Seeing this, Dave flashes a triumphant smile, and then he sends Jiho to the floor once more effortlessly. Looking at the confused Jiho, Dave proudly raises his fist. It's clear there is a poison needle hidden in the broken ring. Meanwhile, back at the arena, Seo-jun isn't having a good time either. The drugged-up redhead has become terrifyingly powerful. He pins Seo-jun to the floor and beats him. There is absolutely no chance to counterattack. On the other hand, Ha-jun faces the same situation. No matter how he attacks, he can't inflict any damage. Instead of being tough, they seem completely immune to pain. Seeing the guy open his mouth wide like a zombie about to devour Ha-jun, completely Sungwoo, having dealt with Doji, appears just in time and grabs the guy's throat from behind with one hand, while with the other hand he holds the redhead who attacked Seo-jun. Finally, after Sungwoo personally takes care of both thugs, the arena erupts in deafening cheers. Seeing the bettors so excited, the host immediately seizes the opportunity and announces the third round. But unexpectedly, the moment she finishes speaking, she's kicked aside by a blow. The two encounters have already taken too much of Sungwoo's time. He needs to return immediately to take care of his brother. Looking at the muscular guy trying to block his path, Sungwoo lands a powerful blow that takes him down. He issues a final warning to the bettors behind him that if anyone has a problem with stopping the match, they'll end up like that guy a moment ago. With that, he prepares to leave with Ha-jun and Seo-jun, but at this moment, Taemin suddenly appears on the combat platform. He says in a menacing tone that just because you're quitting on the first day of your contract doesn't mean you've forgotten you still owe us money, right? Upon hearing this, Sungwoo immediately says he doesn't want to renew the contract. He also doesn't want payment for these two matches, and as for the debt, he'll pay it off by working. As Taemin steps down from the platform, unfortunately, Party B cannot terminate the contract without Party A's consent. If you don't comply, I'll have to use force to make you submit. With that, he casually picks up the subordinate, who was just knocked down, and throws him directly at Sungwoo. Before he can react, Sungwoo quickly blocks with both hands. This guy is despicable enough to use his own subordinate as a weapon. Furious, he's about to throw the man back when he discovers no one is in front of him. By the time he reacts, Taemin has already appeared behind him like a ghost. He says in a cold tone that there's no way you're leaving the stadium, then clears all the gamblers out of the nightclub. Seeing a crowd leaving, the kid with the eyebrows, who has been waiting outside the whole time, is completely confused as he discovers what's happening. Inside, he maliciously asks the manager to let him in, but the guy refuses to budge no matter what. The kid with the eyebrows knows he can't delay any longer and clenches his fists ready to fight, but before he can move, two security guards suddenly grab him. The manager smiles maliciously and raises his fist to teach the eyebrow kid a lesson. Just as he's about to land it, Minho appears out of nowhere and firmly catches the fist. Then with a strong squeeze, he instantly crushes the man's entire hand and in just a few moves takes down the two thugs who were holding the eyebrow kid. The reason Minho appeared just in time to help is because half an hour ago Misu received a request from Jiho asking her to help look after a kid. Worried that something serious might happen, she asked her brother Minho to go with her. After the two arrived at the farm, Minho felt vaguely uneasy knowing Sungwoo wouldn't easily leave Han in someone else's care. Sure enough, when he rushed into the room, Han immediately cried that the others said they had things to do, and that a long time had passed since the promised return time. Minho tells Misu to stay here and watch Han while he rushes off to this nightclub following the address on the card. After confronting most of the security staff, he prepares to force his way into the nightclub, little knowing that at this very moment Jiho is being brutally beaten by Dave. Inside the nightclub, because his right hand was unexpectedly injected with anesthesia, he can't dodge or resist Dave's attacks. Looking at Jiho, who has been beaten almost to death, Dave grabs his head and demands to know his purpose for coming here. Upon hearing this, Jiho stops hiding it and says he came to find Sungwoo. But the moment he finishes, Dave actually laughs mockingly. Well, what now? He's probably being beaten to a pulp in the arena right about now. Upon hearing this cruel news, Jiho throws a furious punch trying to get the location of the arena, but having lost the use of an arm and being completely off balance, he can only be brutally beaten by Dave. Then Dave casually picks up a bottle of red wine. What he hates most in this world is naive idealism. For him, having grown up under the law of the jungle to achieve his goals, he can discard everything. Then Dave brutally smashes the wine bottle over Jiho's head. In an instant, Jiho is left looking almost like a corpse, with only a faint breath. But at this moment, a phone rings. Dave immediately picks up his phone and answers. Unexpectedly, he's told that someone is causing trouble at the stadium. Upon hearing this, Jiho trembles and lifts his head. Could it be that Sungwoo is fighting them? But then he hears from Dave a conversation that Dave also needs to go there. Jiho immediately becomes frantic. Not for the sake of Sungwoo, he must find a way to stop this. At this moment, he suddenly remembers not long ago when he was climbing a rock with his bare hands. The summit was clearly within reach, but he had reached his limit and simply couldn't climb any further, but fortunately a hand lifted him in time. The moment he saw it was Sungwoo, he thought he was saved, but unexpectedly the next second Sungwoo suddenly let him go, letting him fall down the 100-meter cliff. But in that life-or-death moment, he miraculously burst with tremendous power, desperately grabbing a rock and saving himself successfully. Seeing this, Sungwoo showed a smile, telling him to always remember that feeling, the power unleashed when facing a life-or-death crisis. That is human potential. As long as you have the strength to move even a finger, you can change things at any moment. Never give up until the end. Thinking of this, Jiho immediately launches himself at Dave, who is preparing to leave, wrapping around him, like a python using his only functional arm to tightly squeeze the bastard's throat. Even when he's beaten until he almost loses consciousness, he will do everything possible to protect the people he cares about, so no matter what happens, he will stop this bastard from hurting them. Dave never expected that someone so badly injured could still have so much strength, but he's not one to give up easily either, and tries to pick up another bottle to use the same trick, but Jiho doesn't give him that chance. In an instant, he chokes him until he's foaming at the mouth. Meanwhile, in the arena, the person Jiho is desperately trying to protect has already been beaten by Taimin to the brink of death, and to turn Sungwoo into his slave, he even takes out a large jar of pills, preparing to make him swallow them all. But at this critical moment, the arena door is suddenly kicked down by tremendous force. Minho jumps from the elevated platform. Today he is going to show the Baek-sang gang what happens if they mess with the Yumi High people and the unbearable consequences they will face. With that, Minho moves forward first, but Taimin suddenly jumps onto the fighting platform, saying he wants to officially fight the leader of Yumi High, who holds the title of the strongest. Upon hearing this, Minho immediately jumps, and after throwing several punches, first Taimin dodges them easily. He even accidentally received a flying kick from him. Minho didn't expect this guy to attack him from such an unexpected place. While Taimin mysteriously disappears from view, a sinister voice suddenly emerges behind Minho. "Show me your power, that is, if you can keep up with my speed." With that, Taimin launches attacks on Minho from all directions like a ghost. That speed too fast to follow immediately puts Minho in an extremely passive position. After being taken by surprise and sent flying by a blow, Minho leans against the railing with some difficulty. Seeing this, Taemin can't help but mock him. "How about I give you a chance to fight in the arena too? The joke fighters from Yumi High would draw a big crowd." Upon hearing these words, repulsive, he must use his speed advantage to attack first before he can find an opportunity. He is surprised and hit again by Minho. He is absurdly strong. Power and speed instantly leave Taemin completely incredulous, remembering his childhood when he came abroad with his missionary father. Just a kid innocent and then brutally slaughtered by a criminal organization. The only survivor, he was locked in a dark room holding a short, thick blade, thicker than his own arm. Fighting off a pack of hungry, ferocious dogs, this was the only way he could survive back then, and it's exactly what turned him into a beast. Bloodthirsty and savage. Years later, his power grew until no one could stop him. Looking at the criminal boss who once called himself Father, he took him out without hesitation. Finally, once everything was settled, he changed his identity, hid his past, and returned to his homeland, a place he had no memory of. But like a beast preying on the weak had become his law of survival. As long as he stood at the peak of power, he would never experience tragedy again. But now Minho standing before him is trying to knock him off that peak. This is something he absolutely cannot allow to happen, so Taemin swallows the pink pill. Hidden inside his gold necklace, his condition instantly becomes much more powerful than before. Observing this sudden transformation, Minho is quite confused. But while he's distracted, a fist suddenly slams hard into his cheek. Completely caught off guard, he's sent flying immediately before he can even catch his breath. Taemin launches a frenzied assault on him like a madman. Minho, completely unable to keep up, can now only watch helplessly as his opponent raises his fist. And with a single move, he sends him crashing off the combat platform. Seeing Minho lying on the ground like dead, Taemin immediately takes out his phone to report this good news to boss Taehyun. But at that moment, a voice suddenly comes from behind. Minho, who was lying on the ground, actually gets back up. "This isn't over yet. Things are getting interesting. Don't tell me you already used all your moves, but you can throw 100 more. If you want, I'll show you what the true power of Yumi High is." Meanwhile, Jiho, having dealt with the mess and looking at the terrifying scene throughout the nightclub, thinks that Sang-woo and the others had a fierce battle here. Worried, he wants to go help immediately, but his battered body makes simple walking very difficult. Just when he is lost, the eyebrow guy suddenly runs up to him, shouting, telling him not to worry, Minho is here. These nightclub employees on the ground were all taken care of by Minho. Upon hearing this, Jiho's anxious heart finally calms down. He prepares to go find Minho with eyebrow guy, but just at this moment, some stragglers appear in the nightclub. Seeing this, eyebrow guy gets up without hesitation and tells Jiho to rest first. He'll take care of these guys. Since he is also a student of Yumi High, he needs to play this role well. While eyebrow guy enters combat mode on the other side, the second showdown between Minho and Taemin begins. In the arena, after several test rounds, Minho discovers that Taemin is a typical mobility-based fighter who relies on extreme speed. Therefore, relatively speaking, his raw power is still at a tolerable level, but trying to catch him with grappling techniques remains extremely difficult. And if he isn't careful, he'll get hit again. Seeing Minho completely reduced to his punching bag, Taemin's confidence grows like never before. Once, he dominated the entire school, standing at the peak of power, but he quickly realized there was something else: he needed money. In this society, where money is everything to make money, he could only start with a small business. But it wasn't long before he was beaten up by a street gang. However, just when he thought he would forever be trampled under the feet of others, someone appeared and saved him, showing him what a truly powerful organization in this world looked like. They not only had a stable organization and tremendous power, but they also accumulated enormous wealth through those methods. So at that person's invitation, he decided to join without hesitation, as if he had finally found his place. Therefore, in Taemin's eyes, Yumi High, with its reputation, once notorious, would never be a match for his Baksan gang. Seeing Minho seriously injured on the ground again, Taemin tells him to surrender quickly, or the longer he drags it out, the more miserable his fate will be. Upon hearing this, Minho wipes the blood from his face, then smiles confidently. He gets up and tears his shirt off. After receiving so many blows, He has finally found a solution to abandon his vision and rely purely on his senses to keep up with his opponent's speed. This provocative act immediately enrages Taemin. He instantly attacks Minho from all angles with relentless fury while Minho grits his teeth and endures the storm of punches, remembering in his mind what his master once said, "When your eyes cannot follow the enemy, you must feel their movements with your heart." Abandon human ways of fighting. From this moment on, become the fiercest beast. Then facing Taemin's incoming fists again, Minho actually dodges them with perfect precision. Even though everything in front of him is black, he sees the rhythm of his opponent. Previously relying on sight, Minho was always a step behind. Now he makes his own fists meet his opponent with absolute precision, successfully landing a devastating blow to Taemin's cheek. Minho instantly regains the initiative and lands the final devastating blow. At this moment, Taemin, beaten beyond recognition, cannot understand why he lost. Upon hearing this, Minho removes the cloth covering his eyes and says firmly, "During your 100 moves, all I needed was one perfect hit. Someone who fights with conviction versus someone who fights for desire, that is the difference between you and me." With that, he stomps hard on Taemin's chest as a warning, "Starting today, this nightclub is closed. If I ever see this operation again, you will be at war with Yuming Hai." At this moment, Eyebrow Guy and Jiho, having finally dealt with the remaining thugs, in the nightclub arrive at the arena. They clearly see their three companions all seriously injured on the ground and Minho's victorious silhouette. He really can't imagine how miserably they all would have died here tonight if Minho hadn't come. A few days later, the clash with the Baksan gang feels like a dream. After waking from the dream, everyone's life gradually returns to normal. Eyebrow Guy gets a new hairstyle that he thinks is very cool. Sangwoo returns to the disciplinary squad and is also preparing to move out of the farm using several months of salary advanced by the owner of the grill restaurant to get a better place to live with his brother. This should be a happy thing, but Sangwoo's expression suddenly turns ugly. He never dreamed those damn loan sharks. But Sungwoo's expression suddenly darkens. He never imagined those damn loan sharks. Besides, Sungwoo no longer wants to resent his mother. After all, money can cloud people's judgment. And perhaps his mother had reasons she couldn't explain. Just at this moment, the moving van finally arrives. Sungwoo tells Jiho to come train at his place from time to time. Since those guys from the Begzar gang might show up next time, based on what the disciplinary squad knows, the Begzar gang's business seems to be more than just the arena. And actually, that's not the case because the nightclub can no longer operate. Looking to make a comeback, Taemin takes advantage of today when the Begzar gang has an executive meeting at the headquarters, planning to steal some of the drugs hidden there with Dave to resell them for money. But just when he thinks his plan is foolproof and pushes the warehouse door open, he discovers Genius, one of the 5 dragons of the Begzar gang, sitting right there on a pile of drugs waiting for him. Seeing this, Dave quickly tells Taemin to leave. He'll stay there to stop Genius. Upon hearing this, Taemin has no choice but to escape first and wait for a chance to rescue Dave. But he didn't expect the other 2 members of the 5 dragons, Maria and Choi Nuan, to already be blocking the exit. Maria smiles maliciously and says that today's executive meeting is to decide the punishment for failures. Only then does Taemin realize he has fallen into the trap of these villains. Furious, he immediately lunges forward to strike them. But before his fist can even touch them, Maria kicks him instantly, and he is reduced to a punching bag under their crushing attacks. Taemin knows well that he is already injured. Fighting these people any longer is beyond his abilities. So he decides to find a way to escape first, but Nuwan maintains his speed and lands a blow first, knocking him to the ground. Watching Taemin spit blood, Nuwan smiles maliciously. What a pity that the speed you're so proud of doesn't amount to much. With that, Genius tightly holds Taemin's left leg with his arm. After dealing with Dave, he announces the punishment for Taemin, the traitor of the Begzar gang, which is to break his leg, leaving him a cripple forever who can only take beatings. Sometime later, the 3, including Jiho, have mostly recovered from their injuries. They are discussing going to the fighting arena to practice a bit, but unexpectedly at that moment, Minho appears with a dark expression. Amidst everyone's confusion, he walks straight up to Jiho and says, "It seems you and my sister have a good relationship. Explaining things with words isn't Yumin's style. Let's meet at the fighting arena." I challenge you to a fight." Soon the news that Minho was going to fight a freshman spreads like wildfire. Everyone is very excited to see Minho's prowess again, but Jiho feels doomed. He falls into deep despair. Seeing Jiho sigh like this, Seo-jun teases him, asking if he's scared. Upon hearing this, Jiho explains full of worry that he isn't worried about being beaten or losing. Fighting Minho would actually teach him things. Then his face suddenly turns red. He is worried that Minho won't let him contact me anymore. Upon hearing this, Seo-jun chokes on his water in surprise. "You're actually dating his sister." Then patting Jiho on the shoulder, he says that if you fight Minho, while in this uncertain relationship, only you will suffer, so you must confirm the relationship before the fight. He then tells Jiho to stay completely calm, as he is an expert in this area, and listening to him is definitely the right thing to do. Under Seo-jun's guidance, Jiho changes into an elegant outfit. Then he sends a message asking me to meet at a cafe after school, and afterwards he prepares a gift for his confession. Touched by Seo-jun's thoughtful help, Jiho says that no matter the result, he will treat him to a meal, telling Seo-jun to wait outside and that they will go to the fighting arena together after he's finished. While waiting, Jiho nervously drinks coffee. When he sees me finally arrive and ask what he wanted, Jiho immediately babbles awkwardly and frantically rummages in the corner of the sofa. Then suddenly, he lifts the gift he prepared earlier, saying he thought of her on the way over and wanted to give her this. Only after finishing does he realize he is too nervous and speaking complete nonsense. But unexpectedly, Mi is very happy to see the gift. "Jiho, how did you know I like that?" With that, she starts digging into her bag. And also pulls out a gift and hands it over, smiling brightly. She says she feels like he has been involved with some dangerous people lately, so she is a bit worried. "This is something like a good luck charm for you, and I hope it keeps you safe." Jiho takes the gift in disbelief. His heart begins to beat wildly. Could it be that Mi has those feelings for him too? Thinking about this, Jiho can't help but ask what Mi's ideal type is. But unexpectedly, he receives devastating news. Mi actually likes strong people like her brother. He who is watching Jiho leaning listlessly against a utility pole. Seo-jun is confused. "So you ran away without even confessing?" Upon hearing this, Jiho suddenly explains with enthusiasm that he first wants to earn Minho's approval, to become a strong man and then return to be by Mi's side. But unexpectedly, just as he finishes speaking, a motorcycle gang actually commits a robbery right there. And of all things, they steal the gift Mi just gave Jiho. Seeing this, Jiho is absolutely furious. He immediately prepares to chase after them and recover the gift. But Seo-jun grabs his shoulder, saying with confidence, "Don't worry with me, the best motorcyclist here, I'll definitely stop them." Then Seo-jun takes Jiho to ambush them on the path that these people must follow to escape, appearing instantly and swinging a bat, sending a thug on a bike flying directly. While this group remains completely confused about what is happening, Jiho immediately seizes the opportunity and jumps, catching the redhead who stole the gift, warning him to hand over his things if he doesn't want to die. But unexpectedly, the redhead starts his motorcycle at that moment. In an instant, he throws the off-balanced Jiho away. Seeing that the redhead was about to escape in despair, Jiho grabs the tail of the motorcycle. In an instant, an explosion sounds. The redhead has no choice but to jump to save himself. Seeing that Jiho does all this for such a small item, he picks up the gift bag and suddenly throws it into the river behind him, smiling maliciously. "If you want it that much, go get it down there if you can." Seeing this, Jiho gets super scared. Without thinking, he jumps off the bridge after the gift. Meanwhile, inside the combat area, all the students are gathered, waiting anxiously with Minho for Jiho to appear. Seeing this, the guy with the eyebrows thinks it's all his fault. "I shouldn't have let Jiho go out alone with Seo-jun to meet me." In this situation, he really doesn't know what happened after the confession. Upon hearing this, Jae-jun gets so scared that he quickly covers the guy with the eyebrows' mouth, but unexpectedly, it is already too late. In an instant, the news that Jiho went to confess to Mi spreads all over the fighting arena. Upon learning this news, Minho gets furious immediately and decides to find Jiho to teach him a good lesson. On the other hand, Seo-jun thinks he has beaten all the motorcyclists who committed the robbery, but upon turning around, he discovers that there is still one who got away. Watching the redhead, whom Jiho was supposed to deal with preparing to escape Seojun, is extremely anxious, but there are no signs of Jiho anywhere, so he has no choice. He considered chasing after him to find out what happened, but just as he's about to leave, Jiho emerges from the water. After looking around anxiously, he finally spots the gift Mi gave him lying on the grass nearby. But just as he excitedly picks up the bag, he realizes there's nothing inside. Jiho turns to look back at the deep water, then resolutely kicks off his shoes and strips off his clothes. He dives into the water. No matter what happens, he has to find the gift Mi gave him. Luckily, his efforts finally pay off when he finds the box tucked away in a corner. Thrilled, he immediately starts swimming back to the surface. But just as he's about to head for the shore, he suddenly feels a tingling sensation in his feet. Realizing it might be a cramp, Jiho quickly gathers all his strength and swims toward the bank, but unfortunately he's reaching his limit. Unable to hold on any longer, he immediately chokes on mouthfuls of river water. Using every bit of strength he has left, he desperately screams for someone to save him. But just then, Minho suddenly appears and pulls him out of the water. Once he's safe on the bank, the guy with the thick eyebrows and Hyun ask him worried why on earth he jumped into the river. They tell him that if they hadn't heard his screams, he would have drowned. Upon hearing this, Jiho tells the whole story in front of Minho and pulls out the gift Mi gave him. When he opens it, it turns out to be a whistle. When Minho sees it, he's completely stunned because it's the most important thing he gave his sister when they were young.